311 day. Oh, never unite the divided. With that orange coin glow. Down in the blockchain, feel the vibration. Satoshi dropped the white paper, started the nation. No more banks controlling the flow, emancipated. Huddled through the dips, never liquidated. From the streets of Omaha to the global stage. One Satoshi at a time, we turn the page. Fiat burning slow like a candle in the wind. But Bitcoin forever, let the new age begin. Shut the code, let the protocol run. Decentralized freedom under the sun. No king, no queen.
Gentlemen.
Doctor? Oh, not really doctor, but
the doctor's not here.
No, he's not.
Hello, Dr. Roy. Can I call you Dr. Roy?
No, I'm Bigfoot. Today, anyway.
Welcome back, Josh.
Glad to be here again.
It's very good to see you, sir. Before we were deciding to go live here, you were telling us about a trip that you just took. Why don't you fill us in on that? This is your second time back, third time back?
Second time.
This is only your second time?
Yeah.
No, third time.
No, second
Really?
time.
Oh, this is only the second date. There's no making out on this one.
Last time we tried to do it, I fell through those stairs and about blew my knee out. So we had to push that back.
You'll do anything to get out of having to come on a podcast, won't you?
Dude, we even give him beer.
I'd feel like I had to bribe him a little more this time.
I mean,
this is an upgrade.
Yeah, was over in Scotland for a week, beginning of February. Was checking out a woodworking school over there. It's called, ironically, it's a Chippendale school.
There you go.
But yeah, they produced students, and they during their time there, they really push your boundaries of what you're able to do and what you're able to build, focus on the design process, and expose you to a lot of stuff in terms of traditional stuff. And I really got it. It's been in my family for, I'm fifth generation woodworker. But you know, the whole concept of being able to pursue something like this was only possible once I really understood money and things like that. It's like, okay, you know, if this is something I want to pursue, keep it in the family, you know, how am I going to do that? And then again too, it's like, you know, if you're going to do something, do you just want to be okay at it, or do you want to try to be best in the world at something?
So the master.
Yeah.
So you're an Evansville area woodworker, and I don't know that we talked about that at all last time you were on.
No.
So why don't you just tell us a little bit about kind of who you are and why you're a woodworker, and you know what you do whenever you're not on a Bitcoin podcast.
So yeah, I was in real estate investing full time for 12 years up until October of 23, and just wanted to make a change. Really liked. I worked with my business partner, and really enjoyed what I did there, but was needing to shake up and to change. So I kind of automated my position out of existence. I was like, hey, I need to do something else. Give them a year's notice. I was like, hey. So from then, kind of filled a niche in terms of contracting needs, just being able to, it's hard to find good help in the real estate world. So I was like, well, I could do all this stuff. So did that for a couple of years, and then basically once I quit my job, went on my own, talked to my dad. He's a retired Evansville police officer. Actually, I think he's been retired for about 10 years in a couple weeks now. But yeah, so he largely been self-taught, even though it's multi-generational in the family. And so he specifically focuses on handwork, kind of the old school stuff. And his thought process always has been, you know, it's anybody can teach their grandma to push a button on a CNC machine and make a piece of furniture, but how many people can cut dovetails by hand? How many people can and know the process of, you know, joining two pieces of wood together through processes that don't involve power tools? So it's been a deep dive curriculum for the past couple of years of the intricacies of woodwork and some weird stuff. And actually we applied for a grant from IU last spring or last fall. We actually got, and it's specifically for multi-generational trades in the state of Indiana, and they really like to see that. And we ended up winning the grant, so I've been working probably for the past 6 months largely building my own workbench. That's always been the one big thing between my dad and I. We initially got off to a rough start because he was teaching me stuff, and it just took me longer to understand. I was like, man, am I stupid? It's like, I don't understand this. But the issue is he's
I
right.
remember that about me all the time. That's stupid.
Well, he's right-handed and I'm left-handed. So everything he would show me, I would have to reverse engineer. And he's like, why are you doing
You
everything
felt
backwards?
dyslexic.
Yeah, it's like he's like, why are you doing that backwards? I was like, I don't know, it's what makes sense to me. And we were finally like, it's like, okay. So now it's like, well, here's how you do this. I don't know how you do it in your world. Just do everything backwards. It's like I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, but once we understood that, we kind of hit our
Maybe put a
our
mirror
stride.
beside him and look at the mirror.
I was like, this makes way more sense now. But yeah, been doing that for a couple of years, and was looking around at different opportunities, and saw that the Chippendale School in Scotland.
I still love that name.
Saw that they were one of the top schools in the world, so I went over there and interviewed with them. So haven't heard anything back yet, but yeah, in negotiations, and I'm actually interviewing students who just went through the program and just getting their perspective, their point of view. So it's not terribly cheap to go move to another country, and tuition and all that stuff too. So it's like, okay, I want to make sure the juice is worth the squeeze, and figure out what they produce, what they learned, what they would have liked to learn, how they could have prepared better. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to the last, last 3 months, 4 months. And then started renovations on Queen Anne Victorian downtown.
Downtown Evansville.
Downtown Evansville.
Yep.
Which actually, and we were talking this a little bit before the show, I was turning out some walls, just down to the studs, redoing pretty much everything. And actually, and I brought it with me, but I had found an old Wesselman's advertisement.
Well, go ahead and hold it up kind of in front of you there.
That's full of
You'll have to shut off the music from before.
Oh, okay.
full of asbestos and black mold.
Is there a date on that? I don't know if we talked about the date.
There is June 23rd, 2001.
Oh, one.
So,
I
yeah.
was still in high school.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I was
holy cow.
Yeah, I was sitting in that would have been summer before 9/11. So yeah. So
Oh yeah, not too far. Yeah.
No, that was, just before, I guess a couple months before 9/11. It was in 01, yeah.
yeah. So it's just like, it's like, and then you look at something like this and be like, how much the world has drastically changed during that time period. So, but what's interesting too is just, and there's a local Westman's ad, which Westman's doesn't even exist anymore, but it was a local, locally owned grocery store. And I don't know if Bilo bought them out or something.
Them or
Try to think of the locations where they were.
There was one by UE. There was one off by that Taco Bell on Covert, and
that became a Bilo and then a church a little after, I think.
yeah, the IGA, now it's a church, I think.
Yeah.
I think what happened
because Bilo got bought out too and closed down.
Yeah, I don't think the Wesselman's buildings were quite big enough for the Bilo concept. It seems like that was kind of a transition. They probably bought them out and then moved to a bigger location and shut the old ones down, I imagine.
Yep, but it's wild, and I wanted to run an experiment here, just because everybody's concerned about affordability and things of that nature, with not only from housing, Centerpoint, who may actually be the devil.
If not, there's
The devil.
And but most specifically, if you're trying to eat relatively well, I mean the cost of food, even since COVID, when supply chains got wrecked, you see such an increase in prices, and it's interesting to reflect back, especially when we have historical stuff laying around. Although this was crammed in a wall as insulation, like full of dead raccoon carcasses and
At least it was raccoon and not human, right?
allegedly.
Well, strangely,
very small bones.
2001 to me doesn't even sound or seem
was
like
25 years ago.
It doesn't even seem that long
25 years ago.
I know. So I got married in 2020. and this will come into the conversation perfectly, but my 21-year-old son came
You didn't
over.
get married in 2020?
2000. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good.
Thank you for being there to help me.
It's a good fact check. I have
That's
no clue what's going on.
2001.
Yeah.
A year before that, I was married, but our 21-year-old was here last night, and he's really kind of frustrated about things as a 21-year-old, out of school, looking for work, looking for affordable housing, looking for a reason to invest in the community and to want to work hard and to, and it seems like everything has gotten a little bit further out of reach. Just for instance, in 2000 when we got married, Starkey Home, I don't even know if he's still in business anymore, but it was over off Old State Road, 1,500 square feet, and it cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of $105,000. And that was in 2000.
So what happened to your? Because I got out of college in 2008. So, I mean, the world just blew up. I'm in the college bubble, playing rugby, doing dumb stuff. And then you're just like, okay, you graduated. Then you walk out in the real world, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what happened. What'd you say you paid for your house back then?
About 100. I mean, a little over 100,000. You could get our house for 100. We added some windows. We added some upgrades.
So what happened to your housing price in 2008 after the mortgage crisis? Do you recall?
So, just historically, Evansville has not been a bubble community.
Correct.
Like, weird things happen all around the world, and housing was, in my mind's eye, was not so disrupted. Like, we haven't gone through big peaks and valleys. We've just been kind of a slow and steady curve. Up until recently, we've been a very... house prices are gaining and all that, but generally not too crazy.
No, and I saw that working in the real estate field too. Just your East Coast, West Coast, you're going to see. Like, I'm familiar with the Charlotte market. My business partners live down there, and from 2020, when my business partners bought a house down there for I think 800 and some change, it's already doubled in less than 6 years.
Crazy.
So, but yes, and the reason I ask is when I got out in 2008 and moved back to Evansville, I bought my first place. There was obviously some investors who were way over leveraged, and they were selling to out-of-town investors. And but I bought a triplex downtown, which downtown was a much different place in 2008 than it is now. But I bought it for $32,000. So it was just there was such a high inventory of people who were over leveraged, lost their properties. The banks pulled the notes. The banks were in chaos from all the mortgage lending and stuff. And that's one thing that our current economic financial system, that's the worst case scenario, is a deflationary event. Is, when prices on everything, just because people have so much equity, your house is your biggest investment. That mindset, which I think is going away, especially with the invention and discovery of Bitcoin, and it's I think we'll see less and less of that, and I personally see housing kind of going down to shelter value outside of location. So location's still going to be premium. You can't change that. So
Beachfront's not going to be similar to Riverfront, Evansville.
Right. So it's like, oh well,
Unless it's underwater.
Yeah, it's like, are you behind?
Oh, you're bringing in global warming in the conversation. We didn't include that one today, Travis. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're behind the levee. So what I wanted to do was just run through a few things, just in terms of what were past prices in 2001 compared to today, just in terms of relatively normal products that you're buying. And I don't care if that's on. I think Walmart, usually has the cheapest prices on most groceries. Quality is debatable, but
All right, hang on. I'll go to Walmart. We'll see what we can find.
Well, I mean, Walmart, we go to Sam's and Costco and buy in bulk.
Right.
And I found kind of a pricing there that you got to buy more.
Right.
But like the fruit, you can get it bigger containers of blueberries for much cheaper than you can at Schnucks or whatever.
But, well, yeah, and if you think about like your son who's 21, who's just kind of starting out trying to get on his feet, he might be able to ride your coattails with a Costco membership, but not everybody has those luxuries. So they're like, hey, I'm on my own, got my first started job doing whatever. It's like, okay, how much further does my money go, and how quickly are wages keeping up with inflation? And that's a big issue.
So like you were talking about Busch Light earlier, so I wanted to. I was just gonna bring that up.
Let me consult the.
So this is a 30 pack though. I didn't realize they don't sell Busch Light in a 24 pack. So a 30 pack of Busch Light now is about $24, and I think you said what was the 24 pack?
Well, this is a Bud Light. I've got it on the Westman screen if you want to pull it up, and Josh is looking at it. On the bottom, you see Budweiser or Bud Light. What I can't read what pack it is.
Pack of 12-ounce bottles for $10.
Yeah.
And I think that's running 25 now, if not more.
For 18 pack?
27 for 18 pack.
So a case, looked like a case of Miller Lite was $12.99. Miller Lite cans was $12.99.
Yep. And they're still at MGD.
Hang on, guys. Hang on just a second. Let me do something.
Uh-oh. Late two that are.
There we go. I didn't have our wireless in on your screen, so now I've changed it.
Oh, okay. All right.
So now we can talk and look at your screen.
Okay.
My bad, everybody who's watching. I'm sorry. So okay, so you said Busch Light. What else you want to look? Wait, what else you want to look at?
I think the front page had a 12 pack of Coca-Cola.
Well, what I'm seeing is 3 12-pack, 12-ounce cans for $8.
Yes.
So that's a case and a half.
3 12-ounce cans?
3 12-pack
Or 12, yeah.
of 12-ounce cans is a case and a half for $8.
So
And now you can't get a 12-pack
So
for $8.
$8.40 is a current 12-pack of Coke.
There you go. So you're getting 1/3.
So a third, yeah.
You're getting
33%.
Same crappy ultra-processed sugar food.
Hey, watch yourself. We're going to lose somebody. There's some people swear by their Coke.
That's fine.
If it's taking rust off a bumper or what?
You can enjoy it, and there's the time of the day that I did that, and I'm not disparaging anybody from doing that, obviously, but it's just the point of it is, we're dealing with a bunch of different things here, from...
Or for a better buy, you can get a 24-pack for about $15.
Jeez. And then what's a loaf of bread running?
I mean,
what are the ounces?
Regular sandwich bread.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, tell us what sandwich bread is.
So what was the sandwich bread there? Was it
this is the
store brand or like
brand.
Sara Lee? Or what was it?
It's Wesselman sandwich bread. 20.
So store bread. So what's Walmart's stuff called? Great Value?
Yeah. So great
and
value.
this is 24 ounces. So we think the size of the loaves went down too.
All right, hang on. Great Value bread. See, 20. It looks like they now. Oh wait, 24 ounce. Oh wait, that's multigrain. So like just normal sandwich bread, they now sell in 20 ounces. By the way.
Okay.
But the cheapest one I see, 20 ounce, is $1.50.
Okay. So this is 58 cents.
So it looks like we're trending to about a third, like 33% is about, sounds to be, 30, 33, 40%, something like that.
So here, what we're dealing with here is not just how our money is changing, but have our wages going up times 3.
I mean, haven't. So in
Like is
01,
minimum wage- minimum
was minimum wage still 7.25 in 01?
No, I think I was working at Eastside Steak and Shake, making $5.15 an hour.
$5.15. You're right. So it was.
Hey,
$5.15 is exactly right. We changed.
They held that nickel raise over my head for 6 months.
the minimum wage is now
7.25. But
it is?
it's still 7.25 nationally. States have changed it a little bit.
Some of them are way higher.
But
gonna look for
I've never met anyone who works for a minimum wage. Just it's like, because who's going to show up to work to make $7.25 an hour?
Yeah.
It's like you can go steal copper and.
Because I even noticed
quite a bit of that
where
going
did
on.
my wife and I, we were somewhere, and I was like, oh, that's not too bad for this kind of job. Gas station, where the Taco Tienda is between Newburgh and Evansville. They were advertising positions starting at $15 an hour. So just the gas station attendant or the clerk, I guess, $15 an hour.
And I think 15. I think that's the general consensus of where you can get someone to actually show up to your place of business, to show up and work.
I don't remember. So you were right on your 550. Do you know when Indiana changed to
7 1/4?
Yeah.
I think that was progressive. It went from 515 to
55?
655 to 7 1/4. It was over the course of 3 years. 2007.
Yeah, 2009.
Okay.
We got to 7 1/4 in
Man, you're
09.
passing the test today, Doc.
You're doing pretty good. I
yeah.
didn't realize it was progressive. I don't know when the 655 was.
Yeah, I don't remember when that legislation passed. I mean, obviously, I was still in high school.
655 was 08.
Okay.
So it was at 515 for a long time. So in 08 it went up to 655, and then in 09 it went to 7 1/4.
Yeah. And I think when I graduated college, well, my first job after college was I was doing valet parking at the casino when it was still the Boat, and I think I was making so that was 2008. I was making like $18 an hour.
That was good.
Between hips.
Heck, that'd be good now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, other than getting in people's like really disgusting smoky cars, which was super gross.
Okay, they could smoke. I never understood smoking was on the lowest level, wasn't it?
What, on the Boat?
Yeah.
Dude, you can smoke everywhere.
At
on the
one
boat.
point, though,
the poker room I think went non-smoking at one point.
and that's what was in the lowest level.
Yeah, but then once. I mean,
That's all I do.
they provide too much money to the city.
The house always wins, so I was like playing against other people instead of the house, personally.
Yep. But I mean, and that that's not just groceries. You can only buy so your money goes.
Yeah, what do you want to look at a new car maybe?
Yeah, no kidding. So what was the median? What was the median income back in 2001 compared to today?
Well, I was going to look up new car costs. Just out of curiosity, the average new vehicle in 01 was 21 and a half. And then I'm just going to, just for giggles, 21 and a half. New car cost today is hovering around 50.
Wow. Yeah.
Is average. That's for average. Is right about 50. So you said what, in median income?
Yeah, median income from 01 to today.
And when you're done with that, let's do average college tuition per year.
Oh, wow. All right, so the median household income.
How's that?
Median household income in the U.S. in 01 was 42.2.
Okay.
And then in 26, so 42.2, it's approximately 89 to 90.
Just to keep apples to apples, since we have the Evansville prices, what's the Evansville equivalent or Vandenberg County?
Okay, so let's see here. So
2001 to 25, because I mean, over 25 years, it looks like everyone's purchasing power dropped by 2/3.
All right, so Evansville income median household income for the Evansville, Indiana, Kentucky metropolitan area, 41 and a half in 01.
Okay.
41 and a half in 01, and then let's see here. So in 06, vary with figures ranging from 52 to 53 and a half.
Okay, so that's
but it
20%.
It says that housing affordability analysis. I don't know. Anyway,
It's like octopus.
in 26, that estimates median income of 74 and a half in Evansville. So I don't know where they're getting their. Some reports, I guess, are showing low 50s. Where some housing affordability analysis show analysis 74 and a half.
An ally?
So I mean,
I'd even say if it's still
let's just go in the middle. Let's just say 60.
Yeah.
So you're going from what I say it was in 01? 42 and a half, 42.2 to 60.
Yeah. So was that 20%?
Well,
or 50%?
It'd be 50% increase.
Okay, so 50%, and your cost of living has gone
up like 66%.
So, and that's the rat race right there.
Well, I didn't even finish so the house that me and my wife bought in 2000, roughly $100,000. I don't think you could get it for under $225 now.
Yeah. So let's see. So Kate and I, we bought our house right when Grace was born. So it'd have been 8 years. So in 18, I guess. And we bought it for like $135, and we just had a kind of a drive-by appraisal, like not a full-fledged appraisal. We had an appraisal done because we were thinking about getting a new house, and the realtor said, up and down, you can sell this thing for 2.25 easily, like $225.
Well, and the problem is, I think I don't know if we were on pod last time or we were just having a conversation. The real problem is, the boomers, people a little older than me in my 50s would say, well, this is really good because I bought my house. And you said, the house is your main store of value. That's great for
Until you wanna buy a new house.
unless you want to go buy something else. Say you want to downsize, or say your kids want to buy your home from you for the value. They can't afford to do it, first and foremost. And if you sell your home for $2.25 now, go out and try to buy something.
Oh no!
much
If
better.
I bought my house now, well, like I said, about $2.25 to $2.50. But yeah, if I bought it now, I'd have to pay that much, so my mortgage is going to increase substantially.
Yeah, you're just not upgrading.
I'll put some money towards the new house, but you're.
What did you really win? What did you really get out of
square
it?
footage, maybe?
Maybe a little nicer neighborhood potentially, or
Just getting off a busy street. That's our big thing. We don't like living on
fair.
on that street.
But yeah, I really think that ultimately just shows you, even on a local level, that's the game. I mean, you can see that wages are not keeping up with the cost of what everything is. So even though wages over the past 25 years locally have went up 50%, like we just compared actual grocery prices, and even those are up 60+%. So you are losing out on 10% of inflation per year, not including just your wages. Treat houses as hard assets now, which drives up the price. But smart money is always going to try to outpace inflation. So they're going to. So I mean, and that's just your incentive. So even your, whether it be a local investor or a BlackRock, they're always going to try to find themselves or their clients the best position for their money to be able to outpace inflation.
Yeah, so I'm on this podcast particularly. I reviewed deeply several podcasts. Got a bunch of clips that we could go over at some point. So I'm not going to call myself the devil's advocate, but I want you to come in as you are, as the investor class, or somebody that's taking a reasonable amount of wealth and trying to reposition it in our community and into the future. And I'm going to come in like my 21-year-old and my 15-year-old, because basically, I feel a responsibility to sacrifice everything I have to assure that we do not stay on the trajectory that we are. Because just going over the numbers that we've gone over in, from 2000 to say 2008, that I didn't really notice a massive spike. It didn't seem like all that. Even after 2008, I know it hit a lot of people hard. People with large portfolios, people got whacked. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, didn't really affect me as much. Prices didn't seem to get crazy. Where we are now is, again, our kids, we didn't get into the pricing of college educations, but I can assure you the prices have skyrocketed.
So we'll probably have to do a specific school.
Yeah. So I mean, you can do University of Southern Indiana if you want. You can do IU if you want. Let's stick to Indiana schools, U of E. Right. It doesn't matter. But effectively, our kids are getting. Let's just let's be nice and say they're getting as good of an education that we got. I can't even argue and say that.
We'll assume it's apples to apples.
We're going to assume it's apples to apples. I know for a fact, for me to get an education at USI, I want to say it was $1,000 per semester or something like that. It was pretty low.
I think when I was at Ball State from.
This was I was 1990 to 1995.
Okay, I was like 2003, 2007, 2008. I think I was like 12 grand a semester, give or take.
So I just checked IU just because I'm a fan of IU, and it was $4,200 in 01. And
$4,200
per semester
or credit hour.
$4,200 for a full year in state, because it's and now for in state. It's approximately 12,000.
So it's gone up times 3, and is the education 3 times better?
So everything seems to be going up.
Is the education 3 times better? Are our kids getting 3 times the value out of the hours that they're putting?
I'm gonna look at that 01 verbiage again, but I'm pretty sure.
And here's the only picture I'm trying to paint. I'm not trying to hit colleges over the head. Our kids are coming out with more debt.
Try US.
Let's just say the same education. I would say less opportunity, and much, 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 much higher costs to get started, to feel like they could start a family, to feel like they could buy a house, get married, get pregnant as soon as they can. So what I'm talking about is purpose.
Yep.
My 21-year-old right now is lacking purpose. And it's not because he's a bad human.
What's the point?
I heard you said exactly what he said to me last night. Why
should I try?
Why should I even try?
Yep.
Especially the unknowing of what's coming in the future and how rapidly they know things are changing. So I should have the Genesis song "The Land of Confusion" or Phil Collins queued up. I mean, so it is a massive cluster F.
So USI was 3,700 in 01 for a full year, and it'd be about 10,000 for a full year.
Can you just, for the shits and giggles, go back to 1990 and see what it was?
For USI?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, can the internet go back that far?
What's kind of pre-internet?
What's the internet?
Screw you, Josh.
Let's see, in-state
Let's check
tuition.
the archives.
While he's doing that, I got my first email address in 1995 or 6-ish because I'd met my wife and she lived in Seattle.
Okay.
And so we had sent handwritten letters to each other up until that time, prior to getting married. And I got my first email address
You send
at
Polaroids?
AOL. It was an AOL address.
About $2,000. $2,000 for 30 credit hours. That's what they're averaging. They're averaging
30 credit hours. Okay, that makes sense because I was only doing, I think I had
30 credit hours were all my previous ones too. That's what they consider full years, 15 hours a semester.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But even if you want to go through that conversation, because I'm sure you're certainly not the only one who's experiencing those conversations with their kids. I don't have kids, but I know younger people I talk to. I coach the women's rugby team out at USI. They have no clue you're in your little university bubble, which is cool when you're there, but once you get flicked out in the real world, it's just you're like, oh, that's I'm going to go out and change the world.
Yeah.
And you're like, and that was the craziest thing that I remember when I got out of school. It was like right 2008, banks went under, and I was like, oh, cool. This is going to be a cool restructuring period of, hey, banks failed. You guys screwed up. That was bad business. And then you have so much when giant market sectors open up in either banking or whatever. I was like, cars. I was like, such a big portion of all these industries have gone bankrupt. I was like, what innovations are going to rapidly take their place, and what small players who are doing good business are going to have the opportunity to make up some market share. And then I found out what a bailout was. I was like, what's that? I was like, well, that sucks. That doesn't make any sense. And I was like, then growing up, you're like, oh, now I understand.
Well, so part of this podcast today for me, just 30 minutes in, is talking our kids through massive changes that we've seen and how fast they're ramping up, and trying to adjust ourselves to have those conversations with them. Because you just said you're talking to girls, women, young women that are already in college, that are on a rugby team, and they have no clue what they're about to step out into. And this is not...
It doesn't even include AI.
Well, so let's not go there yet. Okay, let's just wait. Let's get to kind of where we are, and then we can talk about how that's going to change. But so we, the two podcasts again. One of them was how can Bitcoin stop government corruption? It's with Peter McCormick, and I think the podcast is what Bitcoin did. I think it's a little over an hour long podcast. Highly recommend anyone wanting to listen to that. The other one is Trigonometry. Elites have betrayed the people, and basically working class people. And so again, our kids are going through school and they're plopping out. Part of what I want to have this conversation with you about Bitcoin is sound money. Most money philosophers will say that. Some don't agree. Some don't believe in cryptocurrency at all. Some think that it's all a ruse. Whatever. We can have those debates at another time. What I can say is you can look at the value of the dollar since I graduated from high school in 1990, and the purchasing power of that dollar, even from 1990, is just crazy. And if you go to the point where you do add in AI, and Elon Musk is saying, robots will take hourly wage to $2 an hour. If a robot can do the job of a human, that robot costs $2 an hour, doesn't require health insurance, doesn't require anything. So there's just a huge thing that we got to deal with here. We got a huge pile of stuff we got to deal with. So
yeah. And even if you've got questions, because I really had a flip in my thought process, really kind of clicked a couple years ago, to where, once again, being a full-time real estate investor, you understand the current system, you understand the tax structure, you have to understand the rules of the game to be able to play it. But then, so I fully understand that. But now it's just like, that doesn't make sense anymore. So, and it was literally feeling, your world flip when you live and breathe and die by investing, and that's what you're planning your future on. And suddenly you hit an iceberg in terms of your thought process. I mean, it literally shatters your sense of reality once you realize how many lies you were fed. And you're like, oh crap. So, but yeah, even being able to afford a house. So if your son's coming in, it's like, I just don't know how I'm gonna afford a house, blah blah blah. Old me would have been, if you'd be like, well, hey, I've got this guy. He's done well in real estate, and he's done this and that. I was like, okay, well, it's like, I'll get you caught up to speed and tell you how to operate. Just like, you got to have this for the bank. This is how you have to present it. And it's a knife fight. Everybody's going to be fighting over for it, and get good or don't invest.
Were you going to throw like a bat in the middle of the room and have them like fight to the death? Or
yeah, I mean, we're talking about like Michael Jackson, like beat it, everybody gets a knife. But I mean, that's how real estate investing is.
And I do want to say real quick that Holly chimed in and said that Aldi's is great. That's where she does her, I guess, some grocery shopping, which we do too at my house. But Joe chimed in, Joe K, and said wages are being outpaced by inflation alone. Like that's a huge problem of ours. So
okay.
Yeah, and if you even look at CPI, the Consumer Price Index, which Eric Weinstein, his wife, so he's the brother of Brett Weinstein from the Dark Horse podcast.
One of the best podcasts ever.
Look at the back of his monitor there.
but he had, Eric Weinstein during COVID had The Portal, which I listened to because I listened to Brett and happened to be on, he was really, I happened to be listening to him after, what they call it, the intellectual dark podcast web or whatever they called it. So just running through, listening to Sam Harris, listening to the Weinstein brothers, listening, to Rogan, and just trying to get an understanding of what's going on in the world. I was like, okay, well, these guys are providing facts and they're providing proof. I was just like, okay, so this appears to be signal when you're just getting blasted with a lot of who knows what from the government, mostly propaganda.
Censorship. I mean, they were trying to shut down all of the people that you just said. That was a big signal.
So, but Eric Weinstein's wife, I think she did her whole dissertation about how the whole consumer price index is just all lies because it doesn't follow the laws of economics. So, and it's even small things that. So the consumer shopping cart, which used to be like, okay, well, the consumer shopping cart has a loaf of bread, a dozen eggs, a gallon of milk, a steak, whatever. So it had whatever, and we keep track of inflation like this. Well, then as inflation would get worse, what politician wants to take accountability for anything? So you would see them, they swapped out a steak for, it's ground beef now. It's just like, well, that's not exactly the same. So they started swapping things in and out. And if you think about people on fixed income, Social Security, things of that nature, the CPI is what changes your cost of living increases. So if you're fudging the numbers, then seniors and everybody, they're falling behind even more. So it's just like, how much screwing around is really going on. I mean, it's obviously a lot.
One can make an argument, I think, in that same sphere, as our food quality has changed and the introduction of ultra processed foods and making. I think on that same newspaper that you shared from 2001, I saw a box of Kellogg's 2 for $3.
Yeah,
I think it was $1.50 per box. So they were pumping these ultra processed foods out because the cost of foods, the cost of living, even then was going up. So people are looking to put quote unquote good food, into their mouths to feed themselves at a lower and lower cost. And we didn't know about ultra processed foods and what that's going to do to make us obese and not healthy over time. All we knew, it was cheap. We could get a lot of it for, not that much, so we could feed our families. So I think that kind of leveled the playing field of how things were going up generally, and keeping the cost of living somewhat reasonable.
Yeah, and one thing in particular, so they've got original Tombstone pizzas here, and I'm interested.
They probably would still be good if you had them in your freezer, by the way.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
What would you like on your
2001.
tombstone? Remember that? That was my favorite commercial ever. What would you like on your tombstone? Pepperoni and cheese.
So what's a Tombstone pizza cost? A 12-inch Tombstone pizza cost right now?
All right, hang on. Let's see.
Original. Oh, this is original thin, half and half, and Mexican pizza.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Probably better ingredients.
Pepperoni, 4 meat, supreme.
Let's just go pepperoni.
Let's just assume that the quality of Tombstone has stayed the same as well.
So how much was your? Did it say how many ounces that was?
It's a 12-inch.
But does it say ounces?
It does not.
Like 12 inches.
Actually, it says something 0.85 ounces.
So this is 19.3 ounces. I'm pretty sure this is probably a 12-inch. I think they're all.
I think they've stayed relatively
12.
close to the same.
I'll tell you, Totino's pizzas have not. They have shrunk. But anyway. And they're way more expensive.
How would you know that, Travis?
I used to be able to get a Totino's pizza for like 60 cents, and I'd eat the whole damn thing for dinner. Anyway, Tombstone, pepperoni. So what is it there?
Okay, they're 3 for $9, so they're $3.
$3
25 years ago. How much are they now?
$4.82.
Okay,
Almost $5.
so
That's not well. So that's an increase of what, about 80%?
man, that's even worse. And
That is worse.
But it's not worse because I was doing the math. So where we were talking about where it's a third, that's technically a 300% increase. So my math was way off.
Yeah.
So if something is cost a third now of what, or a third then of what it costs now, that's a 300% increase. So now this increase is about 80%. So that's not near as bad as like your Bush or your...
But that's an ultra processed food that you can.
You
sure,
brought
it's
up
in
a
the
gallon
freezer.
of milk. I wonder how much a gallon of milk is.
See, gallon of milk has stayed, to me, relatively flat. You can go down to Schnucks and get like a.
It's like if you have like a gallon, like what was a gallon of milk? Didn't you say that was on there?
That probably is cheap. It was probably only. No, I didn't see milk on there.
I didn't see milk either.
Oh, I thought you brought up milk. I'm sorry.
But even that. So if there's only an 80% increase in, so why was that not affected as nearly as much as bread and even Coca-Cola? It's like, okay, at that point, it's just like, okay, what ingredients were they swapping out for something that wouldn't cause massive health issues?
Well, like he said, though, that pizza may have had
actual
more
pepperoni?
ingredients. Like 19, whatever your 0.8, I wish we knew the ounces because that pizza may have weighed more because it actually had more toppings and things versus the pizza now. Maybe have gone down in
so you get like a little pepperoni like this.
Like the dude that does the salt. Have you ever seen that guy?
The old Salt Bay, but it's with like your sausage.
Yeah,
just like a little bit
of that.
But yeah, so it's like, okay, did they reduce ingredients? Did they swap out ingredients for ones that are now causing all these health issues and obesity in the country?
I will say that if you look at anything that, pretty much anything that was made back then might have had 5 ingredients, now has like 15 ingredients.
Yes.
I mean, almost everything.
Yeah, so
15, or you got like Whole Foods or something?
Well, I'm just saying, like, even if you just look at like it's cereal.
So
cereal's bad for you.
Our allowances, our food guide allowances used to be much closer to what the Europeans allow still. So Europeans, I mean, their ingredient list is...
The food in Scotland was amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, we've had this conversation multiple times, but for those that haven't been to Europe and didn't listen to those old podcasts, You can go to Europe, you can go to any of these places, and people that are gluten intolerant or even celiac can go and eat bread there because it's not ultra processed. It doesn't have all the stupid ingredients in it. And whether you want to like Maha or not, and what Kennedy Jr. is doing, I don't care if he's attached to Trump or not. I mean, he is at least letting people know that, hey, these things are not good for us. And it might cost us a little bit more, but if you look at it, I think we're putting so much money into subsidies to, big ag and pushing all this corn and soybeans into these products that I think if we weigh it all out and we're looking at the cost of our health care, which is by far our biggest cost per person. I mean, I don't think that we're really winning anything by making cheaper and cheaper food with these ultra processed things that are made out of stuff that's not really corn or soybean. I mean, you can't go eat a piece of corn that you find in a normal field. You can't just go out and grab one of those ears and start chomping on it.
Tell me how to live my life.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what I can do.
I hope you have really strong teeth and a really good gut, because it's just not going to work. So I mean, I think what I think we should do right now. I think we're in a really good spot, and I've got a 48-second clip, and it's kind of the intro. And the only reason I want to share this podcast is because I want people. You mentioned several people that I look up to greatly, and I followed for a very long time. The Dark Horse podcast is one of them that has changed my life and just how I look at things. This particular one is from Trigonometry. And the elites have betrayed the people. And so the gentleman that you're going to hear is a conservative. He did not win the conservative prime minister, I guess is what it is. He ran for prime minister. He's a conservative, and he did win in Canada.
Oh, Carney? Or Carney was Pierre Poilievre?
Yeah, Pierre Poilievre. Good one. See, you maybe have even watched this one already. But let's listen to this. Only 48, I think, seconds or 50-something seconds, and just kind of address it real quick here.
The biggest phenomenon in the Western world over the last decade or two has been the total betrayal of the working class. The people who make stuff, fix stuff, move stuff, and build stuff. Their opportunities absolutely destroyed by massive government interventions that have concentrated wealth among a very small group of well-connected insiders.
You're focusing on the narrow economic part of it, but I think what Francis is alluding to is there's
The same thing.
Well, is it though? Because there's a cultural and ideological dimension to this as well, because, say, the policy of net zero, which is just economic suicide. It's the same thing. Tell us.
Exactly the same thing, because it's being used as a pretext to concentrate money and power in the hands of the state.
Cost of a home goes into bureaucracy. Meaning, if you just had somebody that you knew could go out and chop down some trees, cut your wood, put things together and build it, you could shave off 60%. But when government, and a larger and larger government that needs to regulate everything and put the middleman in between every process that we do, it basically creates this large gap of how much it should cost and how much it does cost. Now, that doesn't have anything to do really with Bitcoin, but why Bitcoin has become so important, in my opinion, is because the government has to spend more and more, and we've got, the United States government is by far the biggest employer on the planet that the planet has ever seen. And with that goes a lot of expense and a lot of cost.
I don't know. In China, everybody's got a job.
Yeah, okay. You're going to send us into a huge rabbit hole there. Let's not do that. So what do you think? I mean, if you haven't watched this, I say Trigonometry is one of those things that's right up there with Dark Horse to me now. Like, they really hit into some things. I don't agree with everything that he says positionally, but he makes some really interesting points and creates good questions. So
I think, especially, so I got a couple buddies who couple of them live in Vancouver, and a couple live in Toronto.
I'm going to be there in July. We're going to Alaska.
Vancouver?
Yeah.
Nice.
We're flying into there and cruising out of there.
The big thing, at least in terms of housing, the Chinese are buying up so much of the real estate there that just to park it and they sit empty. So you just see, just through supply and demand, the cost of living in Vancouver is outlandish. Toronto, definitely way regulated. And even, I think those guys were leaning towards voting for Poilievre, but yeah, they wouldn't be able to tell anybody that because you'd get thrown over Niagara Falls.
I mean, bringing up Toronto, I just have to say Rush is the greatest band ever. Okay, continue.
You saying that last thing just could throw us into a 30-minute rabbit hole that we might not get out of.
Yeah.
But what you just said was, people, you can't come out and say that we want to vote for the Conservative because
I think he'll do the best thing for our country. You can't say that. So you can
because you'd be canceled immediately, and the government would be looking at you. They'd throw you in jail for saying crazy internet conspiracy theories, and
yep.
You can't say ivermectin.
Yeah.
Well, in Canada, dude, it went crazy.
Oh, I remember.
People won't talk about it. So this podcast, and I think it's only like an hour. It's not a very long one, I don't think. There's 2 of them anyway. But yeah. He talks about the trucker strike, and that's where that conversation will overlap with our Bitcoin conversation. And you can get right back into it, but basically what happened, for those that don't know what happened during the Canadian trucker strike, is all the COVID lockdowns started happening, craziness started happening, censorship started happening, and the Canadian truckers basically went on strike. And they quit basically doing anything or moving anything.
Well, they shut down the border.
They shut down the border, and the banks and the government got involved. Well, the Prime Minister Trudeau got involved and said, cancel their bank accounts, cancel anyone who's given them money's bank accounts, don't give them the ability to go buy anything or do anything. And so that's the signal that wasn't really told properly to the people of the United States, I don't think. Like, that's a story that has gone massively untold, meaning if the government can see what's in your bank account, see how your bank accounts you're transacting, mm-hmm. They can control what you spend, how you spend it, and who you spend it with. And so that's the story of Bitcoin that I think most people, local people even, don't really understand. Mm-hmm. So a person, rather than having it in a third-party bank who can control and be controlled by the government, Bitcoin and sound money cannot be controlled by mm-hmm. the bank or the government.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting overlap.
And that cuts both ways in terms of what, if you think Trump is literally Hitler, it's like, okay, well, if Hitler's in office and he wants to decide your bank account is shut off because you're against immigration custom enforcement, so you're on team FICE, which is fine. You've got the right to support or not support anybody in this country. Like, nobody cares. Just don't be a dick about it.
I don't care if they're a dick, honestly. Say it out loud.
Yeah.
Say what you want. I'm a free speech.
Yeah,
free speech absolutist.
But at the same time, it's just like, whether that be Trump in office, and whatever hat they're wearing, whether it be a blue hat or a red hat, which, we're largely a two-party country, no matter what color hat somebody's wearing, there should be some skepticism towards the government being able to shut down your ability to purchase whatever because you have the wrong opinion. That's wrong.
So you're not free to say what you want to say. Is first and foremost
self-censorship.
Your First Amendment has been completely violated. Mm-hmm. And then Canadians mostly don't have a Second Amendment, I don't think, for all intents and purposes.
It's getting even worse.
So this thing where I do my best not to consider myself a Republican and to listen to all sides, this is what most people and most students and whatever, they aren't taught these little things that go on around the world, and which should give them lessons. It's not that this is what's happened, so you have to love free speech and you have to love guns and you have to love this. You have to listen to the lesson. This is what happened. This government did this, and this is why they were able to do this. What could we have done differently? Like, give them the debate, give them the problem, and let them work out what they can do with the solution. And I think that's largely what our education system, which me and Travis try to hit on, is not doing. It's teaching kids mostly what to think and not how to think. And it doesn't teach us all about money or the real world, which goes right back to the rugby club with the ladies that you help coach. Yeah. So there's just no communication. There's no education about what goes on around the world.
Well, and I mean, the current education model is just based on providing good worker bees to corporations, which, you know, how many big American manufacturing corporations really exist anymore that aren't at least white collar manufacturing like your Toyota around here? You at least have to have some type of formal education to do that. Not unlike the Whirlpool plant that was here that in, what was that, 93 with NAFTA, got shipped down to like, oh, these jobs will stay here forever. There's like immediately down to Mexico.
Yeah, GE and Intel City did the same
thing.
Bill
Clinton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
So, oh yeah, he's in hot water over his last congressional thing too. So, but
well, her too.
Anyway,
sorry.
But in terms of, but even you're gonna have all these individuals, which, you know, I don't know how many, just in Vandenberg County, how many students graduate out of high school every year, and there's at least already been a big schism of primarily men who are just like, college doesn't make sense from a dollars and cents standpoint. I want to go to trade school. So like that is already happening. And but yeah, at one point to where maybe, you know, with the expense of college now, it's like, well, hey, do I want to go into $100 to $2,100 in debt for an undergrad, and I'm going to be in debt forever to the U.S. government for forever, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay this stuff off.
Hoping that AI doesn't take my job.
Exactly. And then you got that on the back end too. It's just like, yeah, it's easy to see why people would be like, well, what's the point? I mean, it just makes sense when you look at how things do. So there needs to be a radical reimagination of our education system, and you know, there's going to be a lot of pushback because a lot of teachers are going to lose jobs, and you know, there's a lot of power in the teachers unions, and they have a ton of money, so they're going to push back through Congress, through lobbying, which I hate why they call it lobbying. It should just be like bribing. So, I mean, it's absurd.
I'll start with saying I think teachers credit unions are...
Teachers credit union.
Stop it now.
I used to work there. They're good.
I misspoke.
I know.
Teachers unions are one of the banes of our existence. But what I just want to kind of lay out there for people watching this and understand why we're talking about Bitcoin. You're approaching Bitcoin, and every conversation that we have I find fascinating because you're approaching it from... we're in very different parts of our lives. Mm-hmm. You're looking at things differently than I'm looking at them. How I'm seeing is, how can I use this tool as something that can fight back now and into the future? And so I guess my point is, I haven't found something like Bitcoin that can help our kids protest things in the future. So whatever solutions you and I and Travis might work out in this podcast or over the next 5 or 10 years, and how much more affordable we can make things through our conversations, how much more affordable we can make things by a more accountable, transparent government and less regulation and all these things we can talk about. What our kids always need to have protection, and why our founding fathers were geniuses in the our Declaration of Independence and our constitutional rights, basically the right to free speech as in protest. You know, Bitcoin protects your right to speak freely in protest, because if you say something that the overlords don't like on Facebook, or X is better now, but when it was Twitter, they canceled people. and we always have to assume, especially with AI and with creeping tech and with all these things, that they're seeing more and more of what we do. To me, again, Bitcoin gives you that opportunity or that escape hatch. Meaning, if you have $100,000 in your bank, let's say $1,000 in your bank, and you need that to eat and feed your kids and whatever over the next month or so, and you say something wrong, you can be debanked. They can take that money away from you, and so that now you're scrambling to survive. Instead of protesting, staying on track with making the changes you want to see in the world, you're now scavenging for food. You've been utterly distracted from doing the thing that you should be doing, which is fighting back against that thing that's trying to knock you down. Bitcoin, if they can't take that away from you, and so if we can get enough people to accept it at the most local levels, you can say the things that you want to say and do the things that you want to do to try to make the changes you want to make into the future. That's the conversation I don't think is really being had that much. Like it truly is a free speech platform.
I don't even know if that would be worst case scenario.
Yeah, it was dark.
But in terms of what the current financial system that we have is currently presenting to everyone, no matter your economic situation, but especially as you're just getting started out in life, it's just like, this is what's presented to you, trying to keep up. And it's just like, it's stopping people from being able to live their lives. So you look at, it's just like, why are kids going to these festivals and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, it's the YOLO generation. It's just like, well, I can't do anything else. I might as well.
Have fun.
Why would I have kids? I can't afford it. I'm not going to be able to afford a house. The American dream's dead. So these are all things that I hear. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But yeah, so it's just like, oh, this is what's being served to me. Fuck that. It's like, why would I accept that after, when I hear from, people older than me and just like, oh, you just not working hard enough. So yeah, pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
That sounded good for a while. I've used that quite a few times.
Yeah, until I realized the system, I was like, oh, it's like, well, my bootstraps will never be long enough. They just keep getting longer and my shoes don't get tight.
I ripped them off. My bootstraps are much shorter than they used to be.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, this sucks. My bootstraps are broke now. So, I think people are starting to realize this more and more, and they're starting to look. But kind of what I've come up with is, everybody likes lists, so I came up with 5 things that Bitcoin can do for you.
Ooh, it's like Letterman. We're on Letterman now.
Well, we need an intro. We need the little song and dance. 5 things that Bitcoin can do for you. Hit it, Johnny.
So, and I'll just run through these things. Number 5, it specifically enhances your technological and digital literacy. And that's one thing, as you get older, it gets harder to learn about new stuff.
Everyone over 50's eyes just rolled back in their head as soon as you said
No, exactly. So, and that was the conversation that I had with my dad, and he's like, oh, here we go. And he's 67. We had these conversations a couple of years ago. But then I gave him a copy. He's an avid reader, so I gave him a copy. I'll kick him a book when it's worth reading. So I gave him a copy of the Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous. And he's like, that was interesting. I was like, okay, that's about as close as I'm going to get to. I was like,
he's all in.
I'm proud of you.
He's all in.
But yeah, it gets harder as you get older to be able to keep track of what's going on, and technology is not going to slow down. So you have to at least tread water and it gets harder as you get older. So
that's funny. How did that happen?
What was that?
Oh, so technical.
Did you have your phone on?
Yeah, but why did it click onto that? Oh, I got my Bluetooth on.
No, it's because you had your speaker up and it went through your microphone.
No, it was it connected with the JBL.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's right. Sorry about that.
I heard it through the microphone.
Keep riffing, bud.
Yeah.
But
Number two.
I was looking for questions on my personal Facebook page. There are quite a few people watching along. So if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, you need to go to Facebook, send a question or whatever as he's going through the top 5.
But yeah, one thing that you should really focus and learn and understand as you're trying to understand this stuff is the concept of absolute digital scarcity, which had never been achieved before. And that basically is what makes Bitcoin possible.
Get a view of my shirt right now and
Yeah.
go right back to him. There you go.
So there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever, and that those can be broken down almost infinitely. So, and why his shirt says infinity divided by 21 million Bitcoin is to specifically, as everything filters over to a new system, the Bitcoin system dovetails. It's a woodworking.
Oh, look at you. It's overlapping
It dovetails specifically into a world where manufacturing and technology can increase and prices can go down. Because if technology is increasing and prices aren't subsequently rapidly dropping, you are not in a free and open market.
And I want to overlap just and say the fact that there's only 21 million of them makes them scarce. And 21
Absolutely scarce.
absolutely scarce. So 21 million sounds like a big number, but 21 million is spread out all over the globe.
Correct.
Just think of it in dollars. $21 million even. Like, that's not a lot of money.
21 million ounces of gold, or 21 million of anything, and that thing is the most valuable because that's how you can transact here in Evansville or go to Japan and buy and sell something. Like, you can take that thing and move about the world, and like, it's scarce.
Yeah.
You can't go out and the big print is right there behind you. And if you haven't read that,
Dude, that was a wonderful book.
wonderful book. So, every time we print money, our money, there's a much larger supply, which makes everything, it's what drives inflation. It's what drives
Correct.
the cost of things up, because you can't just create money out of, you shouldn't be creating money out of thin air. There is no standard. But
Right. So, and I mean, that even leads back to groceries. So this is from June of 2001. Well, then September 11th, 2001, I'm sitting in mythology class in high school, and I'm watching a second plane blast into the World Trade Center. I'm like,
it wasn't an accident.
I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good. Yeah. But then how much money did we spend in the Middle East? I think, what was it, $7 trillion?
The 20-year war that was supposed to be 6 months?
Yes.
Okay.
And then after that, then you have 2008. We had to bail out all the banks because they got greedy and they had enough money to bribe politicians. I'm working lobbying out of my vocabulary because it's a bribe. It's a PR word for a bribe. So it's just like, hey, why don't you do this? Here's 50 grand. Just like, I'll think about that.
Right.
That other guy didn't offer me 50 grand. So you got 2008, and this, what I really liked specifically that you mentioned, the big print by Lepard. He got into, most of the Bitcoin literature focuses on 1971 under the Nixon administration when we had to get off the gold standard. Specifically,
did we have to get off the gold standard?
Well, the issue was France was coming over, and there was a deal to where you could, if you held U.S. Treasuries, which that's largely what we export. We're an exporter of debt, U.S. dollars, stable currency. So, but up until 1971, you could redeem that for gold. And we're just like, we'll keep it in our saves. Well, France started showing up in New York with destroyers and started loading up gold. They're like, we're going to cash this in. And that was the reason we were just like, well, we can't have that. So we're just like, as of now, we can't really redeem this for gold anymore, but trust us, we totally have it.
Do most people realize that our own government confiscated gold from the American people?
What, 32?
Yeah, so it was illegal at some point to own gold.
Under the Roosevelt
but they
administration?
gave you a certain price of it, and then they took it all, and then they rose the price of it to a certain value.
Yes. Yeah. So, and it has stayed at that value till today. So, and it still hasn't moved. So,
33, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been down the rabbit hole.
The history major over here.
Okay, well, let's go on to number 4. Studying Bitcoin will specifically boost your financial literacy, and it helps adjust your mindset from short to long-term thinking. So number 5, enhancing your technological and digital literacy, but this involves how you interact with the real world, not just the digital world, where unfortunately more and more people are spending time in the digital world, not talking to human beings, which is bad and potentially dangerous. But that was the biggest shift for me, and what threw me off so hard was going from short term, which is what Keynesian economic model systems are based off of. You need money to continually be circulating throughout the economy to keep it moving. That's how the economy works. You got to keep money flowing. But with Bitcoin being based on the Austrian economic model, which is based on hard money, which encourages savings. So you go from a position from having, it's like, where can I put my money to beat inflation? Which the government tells us is 2%. Well, that's bullshit. It's closer to 10 and has been for at least the last decade. And even from that little experiment we ran, it's just like, that's not too
And for those that don't believe that, go to Grok or any super intelligent large language model and say, what is actual inflation? It'll give you something closer to the 10% model.
Well, so 25 years, 300%. I mean, 25 years, 10% would be 250.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you do
regardless
math,
what they tell you,
so you're probably 11. So you're probably like 12% probably. Yeah. The average inflation rate from 01 to today is about 12%.
Yeah, this is actual inflation. We're looking at dollars now and dollars back then.
Yep.
Based on real numbers.
Yeah, it's not something the government or the current administration or the past administration tells you.
Yeah, we're
looking at a newspaper that tells you exactly what it is, and we can look at.
And then they take a big "Trust Me, Bro" stamp and then put it on the table.
And they call us conspiracy theorists because we don't trust them.
Yeah, just like, oh, what's wrong with this guy? You gotta
why? I gotta censor him. He should be heard less.
So as a short-term thinking, you're like, okay, well, I need to invest my money in the stock market because I got to make, and even if you believe the government, it's like, well, I've got to beat 2%, 3% maybe inflation. You know, if you're going to drink government Kool-Aid, then that's where you're at. So it's like, okay, well, I could put it in a money market, make 5%. Okay, well, I'm doing pretty good. But realistically, because humans are only as good as their incentives, it's like, well, I'd like to be better off. I'd like my kids to be better off. So I'm willing to take a little bit more risk, throw it in some mutual funds. That's relatively safe. So then I'll shoot for 10 to 15%, which is what I should be making there. Mm-hmm. But when you're looking at realistic, when you literally crunch the numbers based on crusty newspapers and Walmart's website.
There might be some black mold on that, by the way.
There definitely is black mold on that.
Asbestos, black mold, a little bit of death, whatever.
If I come out with a cough tomorrow, I don't know why.
But yeah, so if you're looking at actual inflation costs, which we just ran the numbers, and that being closer to 10 to 12%, well, then when you and this is called the hurdle rate. So it's like, okay, where do I need to put my money? So wherever is the best place I can put my money, that's the hurdle rate. So you got to jump over that hurdle, and then that's where I'll decide to move my money after that. So for a long time, just based on since real estate was inflationary and so was the stock market, so it's like that's always been the place to go. But realistically, in the stock market, you're only making 5% on your money when 10 to 12% of it's inflation.
And you got to pay gains.
You got to pay, and then you got to pay capital gains on it. And even in a savings account, you got to pay interest on savings, which is but
you don't get money back whenever it loses.
Yeah, you get your 1099 INT from shout out to Liberty Federal Credit Union for sending out like 14-cent interest statements to everybody in the city of Evansville. So
the mailer costs more than that, but let's ignore
exactly.
It. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so you start that mindset changes, and you really start to look at, it's like, okay, where should I actually put my money and where is it safe? The next thing it does.
Hang on before you move on to
Okay.
So that was that 5 or 1? I don't know.
I'm counting down. So that was number 4.
That was number 4. So here's my challenge to any parents that are listening. I don't remember exactly how you put your number 4, but what I'm hearing and what I'm thinking is learn the principles of what sound money is, and learn it with the intent to teach your kids. As a person with I have a teaching degree and prepping for podcasts, you have to prep not to hear it and to understand it. You have to prep to break it down to its most common, basic, how this is going to affect a person sitting in the seat that they're sitting in right now. So if you're thinking about learning it, and how are you going to say, take Bitcoin aside, just learning what sound money is and understanding the principles of that, and being able to sit down with your 10-year-old or your 15-year-old or whatever and say, this is why this is important. This is why you need to continue not hearing what I'm telling you today, but learning about it from now into forever. This is one of the most important things that our education system completely leaves out of, reading, writing, arithmetic. They don't talk about inflation. They don't talk about money printing. They don't talk about how the gold standard was moved. I mean, none of that is taught. So you can say that's either on accident because they just didn't think to teach it, or it's on purpose because they don't want our kids to really understand what's going on with the system. And so understand the principles of sound money is what I want to come back to that, and be willing to teach it to your kids or to another kid at that level.
Yeah, 100%. And even if you look at what are the principles of sound money, compare it to the U.S. dollar and see where it's good and where it lacks, and compare it to other sources that you may have. So, and then compare that to Bitcoin and be like, okay, and then make a decision for yourself, because no one can do this research but yourself. That's it. And that's the hard part. It's people who's like, I just don't have time to do this because I'm busy working 3 jobs. It's like, do you know why you're working 3 jobs?
That's fair. I mean, that's super fair. But
Or you could go to the Bitcoin meetup.
Yeah, you go to the Bitcoin meetup.
And here's what I'll challenge, and I'll call bullshit on that. They're probably watching a lot of Netflix, probably listen to a lot of music. There is some free time. There's time when you're working and I listen to podcasts when I'm moving wood or when I'm doing my chores around the house that my wife forces me to do, or whatever the thing is that I'm doing. There's always time to educate yourself and to listen to things that aren't just for your entertainment.
I'm agreeing with them in the fact that it's like, if you're working 3 jobs, have you taken the time to ask why you have to work 3 jobs?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a super fair question.
So is it because your spending sucks and you don't know how to budget because nobody ever taught you? Is it because, you've got a grip on budget, but you maybe don't understand investing yet? Maybe you understand budget, you understand investing, but now you're questioning why I can't get further ahead. And so you get down from 3 jobs to 2 jobs. Like, why am I still working 3 jobs?
Still not enough money at the end of the week.
Right. So at the end of the day, the government will offer a million different Band-Aids to all of our problems just to get people to shut up and vote for them. No matter who's in office. I don't care who it is. So at the end of the day, if you aren't taking responsibility and trying to figure out the root causes of these issues, you're going to be in the rat race forever. Period.
Yeah.
That's fair.
True.
So that we wrapped up number 4 there.
Okay.
Right.
So number 3, it sharpens your critical thinking.
We need to get your drums. We need to make that one of the sound bites.
It sharpens your critical thinking and skepticism towards narratives. So once you really go down enough rabbit holes, which they are deep, and realistically, to get a grasp on this, you need to dedicate about 100 hours into studying money and understanding where all this stuff comes from.
Not per week, just in general.
In general. So yeah,
Total, in totality.
yeah.
So 52 weeks in a year, it can make 2 hours a week. You
2
can
hours a
listen to
week.
Yeah.
So
that's a fair number.
Yep. So listen to 2 podcasts a week. Listen to whatever.
Not our podcast, because that's you can only listen to one per every 2 months if it's a 4-hour one.
Yeah.
But make sure that
Travis, I liked it. Yeah.
once you really go down far enough, and it will cause, if you start questioning if our money is sound, then you really start to question just about everything, and you get skeptical, and you understand what PR is, and then you may go down a rabbit hole, which I just finished, Crystallizing Public Opinion by Edward Bernays, which was basically he was basically the godfather. I think he was a nephew of Freud, and he basically was the godfather of modern propaganda, which the propaganda word for propaganda is public relations, so your PR firms. So yeah, you want to understand how you win hearts and minds of people, which is, generally what the US is trying to do globally. It's what the Russians are trying to do globally. It's what the Chinese are trying to do globally. Yeah, I think they call it 4th generation warfare. It's hearts and minds. So yeah, the
art of war for the Chinese.
That's it. So, and that's how our State Department works overseas. A wild book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, goes through how we go overthrow, influence other countries. The only difference, and if you look into the Belt and Road Initiative that China's been pushing the last several years, they're doing the same stuff we did. They're just offering better terms. So that's how they were pushing BRICS, and that's how BRICS was formed, which they're having a little bit more trouble recently. That's one thing that, from what I can see, the current administration is doing to, it's not to punish Venezuela, it's not to punish Iran, it's basically to push back on China, which every one of these companies were heavily influenced. The Chinese had like billboards at the Panama Canal. Well, that's a massive risk factor for our Navy and our military. So it's like, that's not great, but they're just like, oh, we're just doing this for economic reasons. We're just building ports. And it's like, no, it's like, we started that game.
Well, the most powerful country in any given decade or any 50 or 100-year period is the one with the most energy. Correct. That you go back through any populace, that has always been the case.
That's just for human flourishing in general. The cheaper energy gets, the better off everybody is. Right. But yeah, or you can have a local utility company who's continually jacking up rates. So I remember when they first did the initial ones, which part of it may have been true. They do probably have a very good PR team they pay a lot of money to. And they're just like, oh, we're just getting ahead of the curve. We're going to have to do this eventually, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, looking back at it now, it's just like, starting to question.
Yeah, their marketing team's having a real hard time right now.
Yeah.
It's not working. It's not working.
Funny story, my folks popped in, visited them real quick a couple weeks ago, and there's a Centerpoint truck out front, and so I go in, I was like, hey, what's going on? They're like, oh, they're swapping out the gas meters and to the smart meters, which getting into that rabbit hole. No. But and there's like, oh, they're just testing the furnace and the water heater and just making sure everything's good. And my dad had asked the guy, he basically asked me, he's like, so what's it like working for the devil? the guy was like, man, he's just like,
that was harsh.
So and shout out to the linemen, the guys doing the groundwork.
They're not the ones. Yeah.
He's like, man, I can't drive down the street without someone flipping me off. And I was like, dude, he's like, I'm just a dude with a job trying to. So
no, shout out to that guy. Yeah. That was there talking to your dad. Also, shout out to your dad for having the cojones to say something like that, because that's pretty awesome.
So, but yeah. So, and and they. I'm sure they're a good employer, pay well, which they should be able to with the rates that charge around here. But
sure.
I will say, I don't ever want to defend the devil, but do you guys recall? I don't know how many years now, 3 years, maybe 4 years, when that house blew up.
21
on Weinbach.
On Weinbach, yeah.
What did you say?
there was one before that on Hercules that I actually used to manage
near the state hospital.
No, this was the one just north of Maxwell.
Oh,
there was one at the state hospital. My dad actually worked that case. he showed up and there was just a leg left there. But yeah, so there was that one. There was the one.
The one on Weinbach is the one I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So the one on
Weinbach near Oak Hill or whatever Oak Hill turns in it.
Yep.
Yeah, just near that school, that grade school there. Whenever that happened, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yep.
I know they did a lot of investigating and everything to try to figure out what was going on or what happened. And I don't know that they really came to a conclusion of who to blame necessarily. But I do know that the entire city got gas meters checked. So they went up in my attic, they replaced the gas line and gas meter, went through, connected it to all my gas appliances and tested all my gas appliances at no cost to me. And that's my point to this is I wonder who footed that bill and if that somewhere along the way has to do with some of these increases. But I wasn't the only one. They had, if you look down my road that week that they did that for me, I mean, there were 5 city blocks with a truck at each block, house to house to house to house. And in my house they were probably there for about 3 hours.
Not where you currently live.
Yeah, where I currently live.
Oh, okay.
This happened, now they did the replacement probably
we were talking about 2 different places.
2 years ago. But I think I don't know if they did it to the whole town or if they just did it at locations that were being fed by the same line or something. I don't know, because I'm pretty far away from that house. But they came through and they did every house on my block, on all the blocks. They went to every house and did that. And did they not come up here?
I never heard that was even a thing. That's part of the deal with podcasts is doing transparency and accountability, and that narrative should have been shipped out, and we should have known what was going on.
As I recall, that was, I think the home that exploded, I think it was a group home. And
no, it was two people that were like on the spectrum or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a group home. They were married.
Right.
And I think
somebody left an oven on or something and it filled up the basement.
I kind of heard that there was some switch or something happened in the basement due to like the water heater or something. Something was left open. Some guy that worked at Centerpoint or not at Centerpoint, but at maybe a plumbing company or something had recently checked something and but he wasn't the one to blame, so I don't really know what happened. But
the lot is still vacant.
A bunch of gas. It's now just a grass lot. Yeah. But a lot of gas apparently built up in the basement and eventually made its way up to some type of flame,
ignition source,
and then just exploded. And there's ring cam footage and everything of all that.
I was training a new employee doing a walkthrough on Riverside and like Linwood on the south side. And I was locking up the door, I'll never forget, and I heard this massive explosion from across town. I was like, that's not good.
I felt it here.
Yeah, I was like, that was not a transformer, and that was not good. Then you hear, woo!
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah, like 3 houses just exploded. I was like, oh my gosh, that's awful. Which is the 3rd time it's happened in town since I've been alive here.
That's right. Before you move on to the next, I think you're moving to number 3 or number 2?
Number 2.
Okay. Before we do that, I want to give a shout out. The light, it's lighter now. It's not dark when we start the podcast, and it's really, really nice. I was out in my yard earlier and walking around. I walk barefoot in the yard a lot and looking to the sun, do all the crazy stuff that Chad does. And I noticed that I have some moles, so I called up my good buddy Jerry Rogers, who owns Lawn Master in Newburgh, and it just so happens that he helps support the podcast. I want to give a quick shout out to him and thanking him for helping support what we do here, making it possible not only for this, but moving into a new studio, hopefully here in the next month or so, if me and Travis can pull it together in that amount of time. And mostly me. Travis doesn't have any extra time because he's already spread very thin. But so thank you, Jerry. If you have any mole problems, if you need lawn seeding in the spring, he works on trees that are needing rehab and all that good stuff. But please reach out to Uncle Jerry at Lawn Masters. They're in Newburgh. They do a great job. They have, I think, 5 or 6 places here in our neighborhood do a great job. So thanks, Jerry.
So I'm going to switch gears real quick on you because I just pulled up. I tried to find an article about what I was talking about because I was surprised when you acted like you didn't know what I was talking about. This is an article from WFIE, March 30th, 2023. Centerpoint officials say contract crews continue replace, which this was a contract crew. This wasn't a Centerpoint crew. This was a contracted group that was doing this.
Okay.
Centerpoint Energy officials say contract crews continue replacing natural gas mains and service lines throughout its Indiana service territory as part of a multi-year program to replace approximately 1,200 miles of bare steel and cast iron pipeline infrastructure in nearly 75 cities and towns. Centerpoint is investing more than $76 million and upgrading 115 miles of pipeline in Evansville from bare steel and cast iron, or from their bare steel and cast iron infrastructure. So maybe they knew what parts of town had that, because I had cast iron. I remember that my gas line was cast iron, and I switched it out to whatever it is now.
So can you look at what date that took place and when they went to the IRUC?
So the article was March 30th of 23.
Yeah. So,
but I don't know. Let's see here.
I like how we're weaving out of in and out of Centerpoint and energy costs and through Bitcoin. That's pretty cool.
yeah, energy costs in Bitcoin. I mean, that's peas and carrots.
Directly
because
related.
in terms
Me and
of
Jenny.
mining and stuff like that.
December of 23.
Interesting.
So 8 months later.
They're like, oh, we need a rate increase. I was like,
I don't know.
That's probably nothing.
I don't know if that's a rabbit hole to go down, but it just dawned on me.
Well, not today.
But no,
not today, but
not today. Not right now. We need to
maybe we'll
continue
bring Joe
onward.
K on and we'll talk about that.
There you go. Yeah,
I think getting you and Joe on the same podcast might be pretty cool.
Joe's a cool dude.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back into the Bitcoin top 5. Meanwhile, I'm going to give
So where are you,
Travis
number
his
3 now?
weekly ration.
My pay.
so number 2, understanding Bitcoin builds discipline, patience, and emotional resilience. So, yeah, as this new technology is continuing being run out and continues to evolve over time, I mean, there's going to be massive price corrections, all sorts of stuff. And now that it is specifically being pushed in Washington, there's a massive fight going on right now after the Stable Act passed and specifically allowed Tether in particular to be able to start offering, it basically bypassed the banks and allowed the consumers to reap the benefits of holding a bond, which was short-term yield on bonds is 4.5%, but they could pass that directly on to consumers. Versus, as of right now, if you make a deposit with your local bank, what they're not required to hold on to the funds, how it previously worked in terms of fractional reserve lending, is a bank was required to hold for a long time 10% of their deposits. So if they had $1 million on the books through however many accounts they had, they were required to hold on to 10%, so 10 grand. Now it passed during one of the crazy COVID bills that they are no longer required to hold those reserves. So, and even the Federal Reserve now offered, if banks park their deposits with them, they'll pay the banks 5% interest. So that's not going to you as the person who is currently holding an IOU. So yeah, a lot of people don't understand how the whole banking industry works and the Federal Reserve System, but it is very complicated, and it's basically a giant Frankenstein of when something went wrong. It's like, oh, we can't have that happen again. Throw a patch on it. So it's just like you're broke and you can't afford new tires. Like, well, patch it. But that's what's happened with our financial system over the past, since 1913. And every time something goes really wrong, they put a patch over it. So now you got this kind of amalgamation of monetary policy, and it's just not simple. So it's so complicated and so complex to be able to navigate. and understand where all this stuff goes.
Well, I think it is, but I'm just going to throw a little challenge back, for you to even respond. But it's made to seem much more complicated than it actually is. Like, we could tell a quick story, especially with AI. We could put in, here's the 20 big things that have happened since 1913 and why we are where we are. That lesson could be taught to almost anyone. And we could get a basic understanding of why we are where we are. And to me, that's one of the huge benefits that we aren't using AI nearly at the level that we are. We're not asking the right questions. We're not learning the right things that we should be learning from AI. Just to throw that back out there at you.
But yeah, specifically in terms of, emotional resilience as this new form of money continues to evolve. When I made my first investment, it was at the height of the 2021 cycle, which I don't even know if that's the correct terminology anymore, since cycles
kind of broke. They broke this last year.
Yeah, so it's just like,
which is why,
back in my day, 3 years
Travis
ago,
was a little angry when we walked in. So just so people if you're not paying close attention to Bitcoin historically has gone up year after year after year and been a much better investment than almost any trade or stock market that you can do. And I think it still is above. It's still above, but it had a major correction, which it has had major corrections in the past, but we haven't had record highs to recorrect. The highs get high, and when you correct back to about half of what it's worth, it seems super painful.
Yep.
But when it was only
it went from
much lower. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, I made my first investment when I had just sold a house, had some money sitting around. I was like, oh yeah, I want to jump in on this, and your algorithm presents you what you want to see based on what you like and don't like,
risk tolerances and all that. Yeah.
So I was like, I have a little more risk tolerance than other people. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll throw a chunk of change at this. Just sold a house, got some money sitting around. And then it immediately went from 65 down to 15. I was like, what have I done? I was like, you idiot. So, and then finally wrote 65,000
down to 15,000.
Yeah.
So you've went through a bottom, that was much more than a halving.
Yeah. So, and then this last time, once you go through that once, you're just like, and then finally it took like 2 years. Finally, it's break even day when everybody's in the green again. But then it went from 65 up to 126, and then it's now corrected down again went down in the high 50s, I think.
Where are you at now, Travis? Are you on Bitcoin, or are you on something else?
And then I'm in my wallet.
Oh, I was just looking to see Bitcoin
and it has
today.
since recovered to
70,200 right now.
So yeah, it's like high 60s, 70 today. And then, but for me, it was just, I was like, oh yeah, it's like, that's what it does for now. But as you continually get, and what the hypothesis is, and you can run through the blockchain and try to start understanding that, is when it got that high, a lot of the dudes from, 3 or 4 cycles, so maybe 10, 15 years ago, who had a bunch of Bitcoin sitting around and was like, oh, I'm a multimillionaire now. It's like, sell it. I'm good. Borrow against it, whatever. We also had the Wall Street inclusion jump in. We also had the Genius Act. I think it was the Genius Act that passed, basically that's the digital version of the US dollar, which, as the US is still trying to maintain dollar dominance across the globe, this is the next iteration of that. Banks are fighting tooth and nail because they are starting to realize that they are no longer necessary, and they're going to fight tooth and nail because that's your incentive. It's like, oh, do you want to lose your job? It's like, no. It's like, okay, well, let's throw a bunch of money at Congress and throw a big fit. And that's why the Clarity Act is getting a lot of pushback, and they're arguing about the language and stuff. In basically right now, it's supposed to be hitting the floor relatively soon. It was supposed to be fall, then it got pushed back. The banks were mad, and they're just like, adapt or die.
Yeah,
So
my only
I will say 5 months ago, Bitcoin was at 156,000 or 126,000, excuse me.
Yeah, it was.
126,000 5 months ago. Now we're at 70,000.
and I bought quite a bit then, and I'm buying it again today.
Oh, I'm buying even more now. I'm buying
Yeah.
money.
Now, I mean,
I'm
now
out of
that-
money again.
Yeah, no, I'm throwing more money at it too. But I'm
Yeah,
just
so-
saying the money that I had thrown at it, and then I had made.
I guess my
But anyway.
lowbrow lesson here, what I want to add to what you just said, which you're much more deeply in the knowledge of what's going on day to day with Bitcoin is.
Yeah, our node. Well, I shut our node off for the show.
Yeah,
but our
we've got a miner.
node.
We got a miner and a node in the room now, and but what I will say to people that get concerned, because I'm having this conversation with my 15-year-old, my 21-year-old, and my 80-year-old dad, and it's the signal that you hear when Bitcoin is blah 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 blah. You hear. So you said banks, the banking industry. I'm not going to say what I want to say about it, but what I will say is they're a narrative creator. They are very much relying upon the money printing machine and not having sound money to continue having the biggest buildings in every city and continue creating jobs that don't really build anything, that don't really create anything, that don't, those jobs are going to be replaced by AI in a lot of ways. And so I think we're coming to a really awesome spot with whether it's Bitcoin or you want to say other cryptos. I'm kind of a bit Bitcoin maxi. I don't really believe in many of the others just because of studying it over since its inception, and everyone on the planet's tried to hack it and corrupt it, and they haven't been able to do that. So that what makes me have more reliance on Bitcoin just as a principle. But I want to give my 15-year-old, my 21-year-old, my 80-year-old dad just kind of this. What you just said was there's all these narratives and all these people that are trying to win and have you stay confident with where your money is or where they want you to put your money and where the sound advisors. I have multiple advisors now that can't tell me. We've had a couple come to some of our Bitcoin meetups, which we should probably shout out here when the next one's going to be here locally. But they can't talk about it legally. They can't talk about it. They're the FD. I don't know if the FDIC or their banks
I
or
think it's the SEC.
SEC.
Yep.
So they literally cannot talk to people about Bitcoin or crypto. And you have to think of anytime you're censored and you're told you can't talk about this and you can't say this,
You should ask why.
there's usually some really not good things going on there. And I'm not saying anything negative about anybody in the banking industry. I know a lot of them, love them, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, though, they're in the business to make more money for your money. And if
That's their incentive.
Yes.
So, but yeah, and you bring up a really good point. It's centralized versus decentralized. We have the centralized banking system. So you have a group of individuals that you can go look up. You can look up who's on the board of directors at whatever bank, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. You can look up who's on the board of governors for the Federal Reserve System. And they have a massive interest in controlling the global reserve currency, and they can absolutely coordinate to get messages out for a threat to their profits and their power. And that's their incentive to do, especially publicly traded companies. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I am going to lobby Congress and try to throw the brakes on this thing because this threatens our shareholders' stock. It's like, and it's completely understandable. Whereas Bitcoin doesn't have that, and that's why when
It's a threat to centralization.
yeah, it is, because since it's a decentralized system, there is no central board of governors. I mean, there's just people who have podcasts, talk about it, understand it, study it, and that's it. There's no rolling out commercials. There's no any of those things to where you can push a narrative a certain way. And I think that's the current biggest downfall of Bitcoin is it lacks the correct PR and helping people understand it. So, I mean, you can go on any type of social media, look up, whatever, and start to see You know, it's like you'll see phrases that trend, and so it's just like, oh, have fun staying poor. It's like, okay, well, maybe that's not the best thing to get people to buy Bitcoin, even though it may be true, or, you know, just small things of that nature. But yeah, it's popular for the memes and all that good stuff within the community, but that doesn't breadcrumb people to the same path. Having nuanced conversations about our current system and an alternative is what really gets people to convert and start to do the research for themselves. Because humans, at the end of the day, we like schedules, we like routines, and we hate when they're broken because it's annoying and it's inconvenient. So yeah, it's like, oh, you're asking me to take 100 hours over a year and study this new system when, you know, CNBC told me that it's a scam. It's like, why would I do that? I've been listening to these guys for years and I've turned out okay. What incentive do I have to switch? And that goes into the number one thing.
Right before that, I just want to, one little clip I'm just going to put in here. How do we incentivize our kids to know that things are going to get better for them? Like, we've been talking about all these trends and how prices, everything is going up and whatever. And here's what I'm just saying about Bitcoin. This is why I'm talking to my 15-year-old and my 21-year-old about Bitcoin. Not because I'm getting ready to give you this beautiful nugget that's going to solve all the problems, but it is the thing that I've come to in the tool that we can use to give to our children, to teach them about it. The sound money argument is, to me, teaching them why the centralized bank and the government that relies on us to continue doing what we're doing and not asking questions and not moving our money into a parallel economy, it's threatening. Like, our government and the banks are both going to do everything that they can do to not have us having this conversation, right? They don't want us talking about how we can vote with our feet, but our feet is our money. So if we take our money and we convert it to Bitcoin, we have it in cold storage, meaning I have a wallet right here and nobody knows how much is on this wallet. Someone can hand me a wallet out of nowhere, out of thin air, right? You could have $100,000. You say, Chad, you're going to do advertising for me and you're going to help me do this for the next year or 5 years or whatever. Here's a wallet. You've basically just handed me what you've handed me, and that is outside of the system for all intents and purposes. I can use that as just I'm storing this away. It is what it is. I don't have to spend it. I don't have to pay taxes on it. It's going to do what it does naturally. And so my goal is to not only tell my kids that there is an option here. Not everything is doom and gloom. Not everything is going to continue. We have a path. We have a path to take an idea and to, we lack that mission in America like we used to have. Like that we're going to do this thing called America and we're whatever. Like we're kind of off the rails with that.
We've been on autopilot since World War II.
Yes. And so, and part of that is because the money and the control mechanisms and the narratives have been taken over by people that's what they do. And they have a large centralized monopoly on narratives. I mean, we're victims of that. I think Bitcoin takes that away. It's the free speech thing. It's the allowing us to use this tool to make our money grow outside of a system. I don't even know if that makes sense, but I'm trying to take it to a 15 and 21-year-old level and an 81-year-old. My 80-year-old dad sees how things have been manipulated. He knows a lot more about than all three of us about how our system has been bastardized or whatever you want to call it. And our 15-year-old has no idea. He just kind of sees where he's at.
Yeah, this is the world I know.
So what are we handing them to say, here's why this is important. Here's why if you learn this, it's going to help you into the future. So
to answer that,
I don't know if there was an answer to it, but maybe you have it.
The humans throughout our history have always passed down knowledge through stories. So if you ask me the question, how do we tell our children right now? I don't know. And here's why, is because we are living that history right now of the story we will tell them.
Bitcoin is not in the Bible.
No. So yeah, it's being written right now and it's going through the trenches, and so yeah, I don't know how we would tell them right now. I guess we can tell them the past, but
Which is what we've done. I think we've done a fairly decent job of the fairly recent past.
But I think once Bitcoin wins, which inevitably in an open and free market, cream rises to the top. And when people really get an understanding of what system you want to live in, do you want to live in one where, you can print money out of thin air, and specifically to fund wars, bail out banks, bail out housing crisis when a lot of people got really rich because of the dumb stuff they did, or a system that's at least fair. So it's like you're gonna make your choice, and people's like, well, it's not perfect, but at least it's fair.
Well, I'm gonna push back on you. Yep. I have Bitcoin. I have actually a few different altcoins and things, and I trade in that, and I agree with you to an extent. Mm-hmm. But I think what keeps people what keeps people from wanting to throw their money at this is that there's no guarantee that that's going to be the future. That might be the future that we want. That might be the future that they want. But there's no absolute guarantee that that will be the future. So, I mean, when you say which future do we want, that's one thing. Then you also kind of have to look at which future is actually going to be the future. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there's no real guarantee. We hope that that's what happens. We hope that people come to their senses, that decentralization is the way to go, that some governments are using it as their government monetary supply, and maybe the U.S. will do it. Trump talked about it, but it hasn't happened yet. Mm-hmm. All these things may happen, but as of right now, to the people who only have an extra $200 every 6 months that they could possibly invest in any way that they want, mm-hmm. you put it in Bitcoin. They just saw it go from 125 to 70 in 5 months. Now might be the time to buy, because it might go up to 125, but who knows? I mean, the stock market's the same way. You just never know.
Right.
But I guess my kind of the trail I'm taking here to you is like, what if you do? What makes you? I don't even want to say think, but what would be the points of reason that you would tell somebody who has those fears mm-hmm. that is the future versus that is the future that I want? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You kind of know where I'm coming from? Okay.
So the best thing I could tell someone is, and it's really going to depend on what your view of the world is, mm-hmm. depending on unfortunately, it's what your algorithm telling you right now. Is it
joke?
Is your algorithm telling you that Hitler's in office and we've eradicated the government in Iran, we're about to be in another 20-year war? Or is your algorithm telling you the second coming of Jesus is in office and America
or
could
somewhere
do no
in the
wrong?
middle?
Yeah. Or is it at least kind of nuanced? So that's really going to dictate, because we are not biologically designed to have as much information as is being blasted at us every single day. So
I bet if you ask anybody that, say millennial, I'm technically a millennial. Mm-hmm. I preferred when I was 15 and I knew less than I knew.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
like
I'm sorry,
playing in the ditch and chasing things down the road,
drinking hose water, just having a good old time. No,
simple,
I'm sorry.
Simple life.
I know it's very simple life. Yes, but okay, continue. I'm sorry. We're not designed for all the information coming at us.
Well, that's based on you heard of Dunbar's number. So we are biologically, and this goes back to ancient tribalism, things of that nature, is we are only designed to have meaningful relationships with about 150 people. in our community, because that's about as big as a tribe would get.
I don't think I'm meeting that quota.
But yeah, so your initial close circle is going to be kith and kin. So your family, like these are the people who know pretty much everything about you: mom and dad, brother, sister, wife, spouse, husband,
Aunts, uncles, that kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah. So and then from that, it gets a little bit bigger. But our brains are maximized at about 150. It's called Dunbar's number.
Okay.
Outside of that, you basically you identify with that tribe, whether that be through your upbringing, whether that be through and this gets passed down from your parents and the people who you hang out with about what you find important, and be like, hey, I'm going to raise the banner for this. I'm going to raise the banner for that. Mm-hmm. And then once you get out and start experiencing the rest of the world, so like, okay, well, there's another tribe over here. Well, like we agree on X and Y, but not Z. It's just like, okay. Well, that's like, even when we showed up, it's like, you're just like, oh, you related to Dennis DeYoung? I was like, man, dude's
I
not.
love me some sticks.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. It's like, well, that dude's not in my tribe, because, he may be, he's a third, fourth cousin or something crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. It's like, well, I'd buy him a beer if I saw him, I guess. But it's just like,
I'd buy him a beer if I saw him, and I'm not anywhere close to related to him.
But yeah, but it's like, if he calls me up, I'm not going to help him like move out. So it's just like,
why not? It's Dennis DeYoung, man.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of pianos to move. It's like,
man, yeah. Well, that's true. That's true.
But when you're blasted that much, and that gets to your point of things were simpler pre-digital age, but we're past that point as soon as the internet became publicly available and ended up in everybody's phones and now in everybody's pockets. And short of some type of cataclysm, we're not going back.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I think at that point, you need to really think about, what's important to you and where you want to be. And this kind of gets to my number one point is, like it specifically encourages a mindset of self-reliance and provides you a big picture perspective. So yeah, so if you have an inclination to be self-reliant, which there is risk involved with this. It's like, right. I don't have a bank. I've got a bank on the minimal level necessary, specifically because the Bitcoin ecosystem is still growing.
Yeah, you still need somewhere for that direct deposit to go, or those
Correct.
checks to get cashed, or whatever.
And it's being worked on right now, but it's just like, yeah, for me personally, it's like, yeah, as soon as I can get out of the system that we're operating in, it's like, I'm done. Whereas, a lot of people aren't going to be, depending on what they're ingesting through the internet and, who their tribe is, they're going to have a different perspective on how that's going to look.
Well, put a stopper right on what you just said and come right back to it. You talked about Brett Weinstein earlier. He describes the situation we are in currently as the Cartesian crisis. And I'm just going to give you a quick iteration of what the Cartesian crisis is. And it was actually coined by him in 2024. It refers to the profound societal condition in which people can no longer be certain of anything. Scientific claims, historical facts, the true extent of public consensus, or even the reliability of institutions and processes that once generated verifiable knowledge. Fueled by institutional decay, algorithmic distortion on social media, the flood of indistinguishable AI-generated content, meaning text, images, audio, and deepfakes, and the rapid erosion of trust in journalism, academia, and expertise, it represents a collapse of reason in itself. Our average level of certainty remains high, yet the quality and consistency of the underlying evidence has plummeted to an all-time low. It's named after Rene Descartes. Descartes, right? You're right. Method of radical doubt. So I think you asked the question about, Travis, about how can we know, how can we trust this or whatever. I think there's so many things going in so many different directions, and to me,
I love that, by the way. What you just said, never heard it before. I mean,
Brett, follow Dark Horse, dude. He is a pure genius, and that's all that.
I thought you said you loved everything going in a different direction. I was like,
It's the reason
it's making a lot more sense now.
No.
Look, I'm gonna put the sticker up. It's the reason why I have Dark Horse on my computer.
There you go.
So it how do you really describe, like, you kind of backed him in a corner and asked him.
I didn't. I'm just.
I was like,
I was playing.
just answer the problem, the big problem.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah. No, but it's beautiful. And you queued right up what I think he doesn't really know.
Right. I don't know.
Brett from Dark Horse doesn't really know, and we don't know. What we know is all the things that he outlined there are these things that it feels like we've been lied to for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And
that's the only good thing. I would still to this day say COVID. It's the only good thing that happened with COVID is that opened so many eyes, including my own. Yeah. My government is taking care of me, and they are
doing the right thing.
Good. Thank you for chew up that worm. And then COVID, and then now it's like, well, what's real and what's not?
Well, and that's scary, and that's not good. And so again, I think we're trying to come back to having a positive vision for the planet. Mm-hmm. And I think Brett, in that paragraph, that the most advanced Grok on the planet, helped me get to that most concise thing. Is there's a big unknown out there, and we don't know who to trust. We don't know what conversations are real or not real. We don't know why Bitcoin might be the answer to any of it. But you need really, and Brett, by the way, is talking about Bitcoin now, which really, I mean, I want to hear if he wants to shoot it down. I want to hear if he wants to prop it up. To me, the answer to your question on my thing, before you just finish out your number one, is we don't know. Mm-hmm. I certainly know what our current system and the current dollar and the current structure is a big unknown. We've been hearing that the stock market could crash at any given moment, and the dollar could be devalued to next to nothing. We could be in a banana republic.
It could be in Venezuela.
There's no guarantee of anything. There's no guarantee of anything. I consider this a insurance policy to someone that doesn't like insurance companies. Like I feel like if I can take 10% of something and just move it over there as a hedge against what could happen, whether it wins or loses, it's just I'm trying to protect my kids. I mean, it's an insurance policy that can't be controlled by insurance companies, can't be controlled by banks, can't be controlled by governments. I don't know if that's that.
Well, and I think maybe to boil it down to get down to brass tacks to the root question there is, at least with Bitcoin, I can verify this myself. And I don't have to take a trust me bro from any president in office who says how much gold in Fort Knox we have. I don't have to take a trust me bro from...
Didn't show us though.
Oh yeah. I don't have to take a trust me bro from the chairman of the Federal Reserve. I can literally go verify everything myself. So if I'm sending you money, I can verify it, you can verify it, and Chad can verify it. So at the end
of the bank doesn't get a fee for it.
Yeah, the only person who would get some type of small fee is someone who also believes in the system.
Well, we're paying for a node. So me and Travis both have nodes. You have a node. So we have it. So just so and you're going to explain this better, but I'm just going to give my superficial to my 15-year-old and 21-year-old. We have nodes in our house that basically verify all Bitcoin transactions. So we have a sequence of things that have happened from I don't know how long, which you can maybe give us more. It doesn't really matter. But every transaction that made verifies it all goes back to 21 million, whatever number of Bitcoin there are. And so banks, if you send $1,000 to another country, a bank, there's going to be a transaction fee. There's going to be these things that are added onto it that are taken away because they're giving you a quote unquote secure transaction. You're transferring money from A to B, and they're going to take their hit off of it.
Through the ACH, the automated clearinghouse.
Bitcoin, system. If you travel to El Salvador with your wallet and you have $1 million there and you want to send me whatever money because I'm doing such and such for you, you can send that to me and we don't need a bank for that. No. The nodes basically create a trust network that allows you to send me money.
It's not a trust network, it's a verifying network.
It's a verify. You shouldn't trust anybody.
Correct.
And this allows you to trust but verify.
Yes.
The two words together actually make sense. It's a trust network because you can verify that it's true based on what you know.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
That was a big rabbit hole, Travis. Thank you.
But yeah, and even if you want to pull up the blockchain, it's on a mempool.
Yeah, we each have our own blockchains on the nodes, but yeah, I can.
How close are you to being done with number 1?
That's it, man.
You're good with number. Okay, so just review while he's looking at that. Review. Just say top 5 real quick.
I guess, Chad, if you pull up mempool, I can throw it on the podcast. If you,
Tell me. Just tell me.
it's just mempool.space.
Yep.
MEMPOOL.
What? Hang on.
MEMPOOL.space. SPACE.
So the big 5, it enhances your technological and digital literacy. It boosts your financial literacy and adjusts your mindset from short to long-term thinking in terms of financial planning, sharpens your critical thinking and skepticism towards narratives, builds discipline, patience, and emotional resilience, and encourages a mindset of self-reliance and allows a bigger picture perspective. So that's my big 5 of what, when you study this stuff, that's at the end of the tunnel. So is the juice worth the squeeze? But yeah, so this is, you don't have to trust anything I say. I don't have to trust anything Chad or Travis says. Like, I can look at the blockchain, which is right here. Every approximately 10 minutes, a new block is mined. They just hit 20 of the 21 million Bitcoin have been mined. The last 1 million is going to take 114 years. So the supply, the inflationary supply, which, that's just like the US dollar. If you were to continually add US dollars, that's inflationary. But since less and less get added to the Bitcoin supply every year, it is deflationary. And with it being a digital hard cap, there's only ever going to be so much. So when you take assets through our current system, which, there's, I don't know how many trillions of dollars of global assets they are, and that explains Chad Shirt. And it's just like, okay, governments can imprint.
Bring it back to us, Travis, if you don't mind.
Governments can print infinity dollars, but that's only ever going to go into 21 million Bitcoin, which is broken down. That's like that's like a $100 bill, which can be broken down into 10 tens and 100 ones and quarters. And I don't even know if it could be broken down in pennies anymore. They don't have.
A lot of places don't have pennies. They're going to round. No. They're going to round up or down for you.
We don't
so
it looks like the global asset amount currently is 1.7 quadrillion.
Yeah. So so if you take that, and Jeff Booth, he has an awesome, easy to read book called The Price of Tomorrow, and he specifically gets into, and that's where he talks about free and open markets. And so he has, based on that current number of 1 point whatever quadrillion.
7.
So he says, he's like, based on that number, a current Bitcoin's price should be worth about $40 million. Because you take that number divided by 21 million, he's like, the current Bitcoin, and that's how he views it. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Because everybody, as people start to understand that this is a system that is compatible with the increase in technology causing deflationary events instead of our current system, which a deflationary event in our current central banking system, like, that's the worst thing that could absolutely happen, because people will lose their investment in their home. It changes it from an investing system to a saving system, and these systems are not compatible with each other. It's going to be winner take all at the end of the day. So, and simple systems always tend to win, in my opinion.
In my opinion, I feel like we've done a pretty good job today. Is there any questions out there? Before I ask if we have any questions out there, would you like a bourbon?
I would love a bourbon.
You want a cube or do you want it neat?
Whatever's.
I have a block.
Convenient.
I have a block.
Dude, you got. Oh yeah.
I got a cube, dude.
I'll take one rock, please.
One single rock. I got one out for myself earlier.
Every time I think about this, I think about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. whenever he asks for whatever on the rocks, and then he goes, "I mean ice."
He still gets a bunch of stones.
And he still
in
gets,
there.
he still gets rocks. Yeah. Anyway, that's
That movie
that's what I think
was
of.
my favorite movie. I was like, oh, dude, if cartoons in the real world could just
Jessica
interact.
Rabbit.
Yeah.
Jessica
But yeah,
Rabbit.
also that was the most horrifying villain they could have ever made.
Absolutely. The judge.
For a child to watch. Like, oh, there's a kids movie. I was like, this
They
is
put that
scary.
shoe in the dip. Oh my gosh.
Remember me, Eddie?
Man, I still have nightmares.
Yes.
Oh, so don't put the photo on me because I'm.
It's already on.
Oh, whatever. I made a little spill here.
Oh, just spill it.
Well, that's what
you could
happened.
be like the bartender, you know. You could.
Yeah, well, I've
we're all
got to do it all.
talking and we're chatting and we're
You're
like,
doing all
you know,
the stuff with the compute. I'm doing all the stuff with the liquid stuff that I'm passing out.
Yeah, people saw all of the faders, buttons, everything that was going on over here. They'd probably be a little lost, but that's okay.
Well, that's why we have you because
That's why I'm here, and that's why I had my glass, and so I've been paid for the night. No, I'm good, thank you. It was good though. It was delightful.
What is this one clip has been showing up for me. It's Anchorman, and when they're sitting in, they're having
Scotch. I love Scotch.
they're having a drink, and it's Paul Rudd and the big tall goofy dude. That's the Will Ferrell, and he opens up the thing, and it's all the clones, and the clones pop up, and the clone of the day that he likes is the Black Panther or something, whatever.
I just remember that it works half the time.
No,
all
it
the
works.
time, or 50,
It works.
50%
It works 60% of the time. Every time.
Every time. That's what it is. 60% of the time.
Every time. So I don't know where we go. I think we've really talked pretty
Yeah, I think we
deeply
covered as
about
well.
Bitcoin.
But yeah, and we talked a little bit too about, we're trying to at least start a mini series
Yeah.
about this.
Yes.
So
When's the next meetup? That'd be a good question.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the next Bitcoin meetup. So every month, Josh arranges a monthly Bitcoin meetup, and any number of people have showed up. We would like more to be there. I mean, we don't need a large number because I think the conversations are great in kind of a small group. But if you're interested in the kind of the topics that we're talking about now, if you're interested in learning more, figuring out, so I come because Josh knows a lot more about Bitcoin than I do, so I'm trying to learn, but also other people have different views of what Bitcoin is and what it could be. And so we're all kind of trying to, at the intersection of what is Bitcoin, what can we do with it here in Evansville? You and I have agreed to, no, it's more than that. He put his money where his mouth is more than anyone that I've heard in a very long time. He's like, I'm going to commit to a quarterly podcast to talk about Bitcoin, or you're going to pay me in sats.
yes,
A certain amount. You're going to fine yourself.
Correct.
And it wasn't a small amount.
No.
And we don't need to say how much it is for the record or anything else. But I love that about you first and foremost. I appreciate your commitment. I think this conversation to me is even better, much better than the last one, because I feel like you're challenging yourself to, like, how can I bring this to how we can use it locally amongst, with other people in Evansville that have similar concerns that we do. We don't have to agree about everything. We don't have to agree with politics. We don't have to agree with who caused what. Doesn't matter who's president. Doesn't matter whose fault you think it is. We can talk about how we think Bitcoin and sound money might change our paradigm. And ultimately that's why I'm here. I'm here because I don't want my kids to be a slave to the system that's already creating a lot of slaves. I just don't want it. And so I like surrounding myself with people that are smarter than me. That's why you and Travis are both in this room, and I feel like I'm a little on the totem pole. That's the way I like it. I want to challenge you guys as much as possible, and I appreciate you stepping up to the plate.
yeah, and that's one thing I'll give out. Shout out to my buddy Kyle. It's like we had discussions about goals and things like that just throughout your life, and it's, if you don't have goals with teeth, then what's the point? So it's just like, it's just like, okay, I'm going to commit to doing this, and if there's not a positive incentive for you to get it done, or a negative incentive to discourage you from doing something. So then you're not going to find success. So that's why I'm here today. It's like, okay, it's like I made a commitment, and then if you don't follow through with your word, people think you're full of shit.
Well, I think what you I don't remember which number it was on your 5, but the education part of it is if you're learning it with the intent to teach it, it really goes to a much deeper level. And I think you challenging yourself to that is actually, yeah, I could get some benefit, but I also know you don't want to give me any Bitcoin, so you're gonna learn everything that you need to learn and prepare yourself to come have the conversation. And quite honestly, I'm not going to want to talk to you again unless you come back and you're a little better the next time and you're refining it, because I want to help other people understand it. I want to bring it to our city and use it as a tool within our city, either at the individual level, at the county level, or business level, to fight against the things that we're seeing, and whether it's corruption, whatever that means, or if it's just we want our money to be worth more next year than it is this year, rather than the managed decline that we're seeing at the city, state, federal level. I mean, we're in a managed decline. We if you don't know that, that's where we're at. So, and that sounds really negative, but we're trying to turn a podcast like this and the conversations we're having into, we can turn the ship around. Like the iceberg's there, we're the Titanic. Let's just not hit it head on.
Yeah, and that's largely what we do at the meetups. So we've been meeting on the last Thursday of every month for about, I think, 7 or 8 months now. And all we do, we have been meeting at our academy downtown. Shout out to Carl for letting us meet there.
Carl.
Carl's the man.
He's been great.
And Travis would be there, but he has overextended himself into too many projects.
I volunteer for way too much crap.
Yeah.
That's all. I volunteer for so much crap.
And I bring him here so you don't have to go to the meeting.
There you go.
But the first conversation we had was talking about what Bitcoin was, which was, it got into a lot of technicals and things like that. And what we try to do at the meetups is we want to cater the message to the person with the least amount of knowledge there, to be like, okay, well, where are you at in your steps of understanding that? And it's just like, okay, well, how can we help you? So it's free, doesn't cost anything.
Unless you like beer, and we're not buying your beer. You got to give Carl some money.
Yeah. So
Shout out to Carl.
So beer, food.
They have really good food. I haven't tried them.
And they've got the free arcade games and stuff. So it's good to support.
Great atmosphere.
Good local business. They take really good care of us, and they allow us to meet there. But yeah, usually we'll show up at 6, have a social hour. If you want to play some video games, your prerogative, hang loose. At 7, we have a discussion. We've done presentations in the past about what currently is going on, whether that be with the current development, whether that be what's going on in Congress right now in terms of how that affects Bitcoin, how you can help other people understand it. And I've been talking with a couple people to bring them in to have some speakers in. So we're just off the ground, and these are all over the country. This isn't just here. I've been out to ones I was out at one in LA in September. Met a dude who has helped develop Core quite a ways, and he knew a lot of people working on the high-end development of this stuff. So it is a cool community of like-minded people coming from vastly different backgrounds. So entrepreneurs, doctors, teaching backgrounds, the current financial system, former military, just people who want to learn and have a couple beers and talk and chat. So meet for a couple hours once a month. Bring your wife, bring your husband, bring your, just come and learn. That's what we're here for. So
well, there's several people I want to give a shout out to, and also I hopefully we podcasted with a gentleman who wrote a book about Bitcoin called Neil Flesher.
Oh yeah,
and I just found out that in the public announcement, I knew it was going on kind of in the back channel, but he wasn't able to publicly announce it. He and Robert Breedlove are creating a second book.
Nice.
Together.
Good for him.
So I hope once that is released, he's very excited about it. I've heard Breedlove talk about it on several of his What is Money podcasts, which I also recommend.
Very cool.
If you're wanting to study money and Bitcoin. I mean, he does talk about Bitcoin, but out of all the podcasts that he does 2 to 3 hour podcasts. They don't talk about Bitcoin a lot. They're talking about principles. They're talking about sound money. They're talking about why
Philosophy and
the philosophy behind why we are where we are and where we might go. And I, you know, the reason why I consider myself a philosopher, not because I'm smarter than anyone else, but because I'm really curious about how we can take where we are and insert our kids and our future selves into a better spot. And I mean, I think that's basically what philosophy is. You got to learn from the past, figure out where you are, and how do we get better as a community. So looking forward to that with Neil and Robert. Also, shout out to my buddy Jeff. Anybody that's listening to this that sells homes or looking to buy a home, please use Bossy Title. He is a very generous person. We do not agree on a lot of things.
We do not agree on anything.
No. Here's why I'm saying this. It's really delicate for local businesses, and I got another gentleman I'm talking to now that I think it's going to turn into hopefully a good relationship for both of us. And I reached out to him today and I said, hey, I just saw something that you posted. I'm not going to say who it is or what it was. And I said, you know, I don't like what happened with your past thing that happened. Here's how I hope this podcast can help you. It's a local podcast. We're going to hopefully be reaching more and more local people in the community. And it's not about Republicans or Democrats. Like most local businesses don't want to get into edgy conversations if you're, you know, pissing on one side or the other, because you have Democrat, you know, Michael Jordan said it.
Michael Jordan philosophy.
Michael Jordan, Republicans buy Nikes too, you know. So my goal here is never to come off as a partisan person. My goal is to talk about topics, to look at problems and try to solve problems, and not ever to disagree. The guy that reached out to me, I reached out to him and he reached back and said, yeah, I'm super interested. He's like, I love your podcast. I don't always agree with whatever that you say, but I love your podcast. I'm like, if you agreed with everything that I said, you would be defeating the point of why we have these conversations. We're not here to tell the narrative that needs to be heard. We want to have conversations and have smart people come in and say, I don't agree with you on this. I do agree with you on that. How can we meet in the middle and solve these things? So part of that for me with you here is that. But so anyone that's interested in supporting the program, and there are more and more businesses that are considering that, please know that I'm not here to choose sides and get any one person elected or unelected. I call things as I see it. I don't always say what's popular. I say what I believe. And that's what this guy said. His final thing that he said to me was, I don't always agree with everything that you say, but at least you have the brass to say what you believe.
Huevos.
Yeah. So I mean,
Cojones.
So I mean, that's I don't care. Yeah. You know, you're not going to change me with your money that you send me. I'm going to ask the questions, and if your argument is good and you have a good product, I'll shout you out, and other people will too. So that was my only thing. So we've got a bourbon. What's happened locally that we can talk about?
Or you got a Q&A?
Are there any questions out there that you've seen?
No, there's not really been. I mean, there's just been some comments, but not really.
Okay.
Not really questions.
I think so. Let's talk about that for a minute. I really feel like having this conversation locally is a little challenging, and it's only because we don't have the education. There's not enough people that have been exposed to the ideas yet, and that are comfortable and confident enough to come out and have a conversation about it. There are a lot of people that think about it. I know of 3 investors that are very well-known, popular people that want to talk about it, and they're being handcuffed. And the brass, what is it? The golden handcuffs and the golden duct tape that Dr. Roy talks about a lot. They simply can't talk about it. So they have a fear and an obligation not to talk about it. And anyone in public has a fear because it's like this thing that nobody really talks about. Yeah. Because it's kind of a conspiracy thing, and that's what we're trying to break through. I think we're in the early stages of definitely breaking through that. Part of this conversation, part of this podcast is to find little nuggets that hopefully, you know, one person in the Evansville surrounding county area could say, I hear what they're saying, and I think there might be hope in this. So I'm going to dig a little deeper. I'm going to ask more questions. I'm going to watch a podcast. I'm going to commit to 2 hours a week or whatever we said was the number that we needed. So I mean, I think it's little by little. The problem with education and changing the direction of a ship is it's a slow process.
Changing
and we
minds
don't.
hard.
And
You get in your routines. You get in I got to pay my rent or my mortgage. I got to buy groceries. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's like, now I got to invest in this thing
Right.
or that thing. And yeah, it's, humans love patterns and just
comfort.
routines.
We find comfort in routines.
Yes.
And breaking outside of those things is definitely
difficult.
challenging.
Yeah, especially I think the people who have found success in the current system are even less likely to be open to these ideas. Whereas people who have struggled and are the younger generation, which are way more open to this, even if they don't fully understand it, because they're like, what do I have to lose? So just like, send it. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, whatever.
Well, here's what I want to challenge I have a lot of friends in the banking industry. I have a lot of friends in the investment industry, and they are coming to me on the side and talking to me. I want to challenge more.
I would say I would include politicians to that too,
100%.
because I am now a one issue voter. Do you support Bitcoin or not?
Wow.
So that's it. I don't care because.
Supported in what way?
So we could probably do an hour on what you just said. Say that again. This is going to be a clip.
So
Tell us where you are in 2026.
I am and there is a lot of people like me, my friend group, a lot of other people. I am a one issue voter. Does a politician accept and support Bitcoin or not? Because
Bitcoin specifically, or
Yes.
sound money?
Bitcoin,
idea?
period.
Okay, so I agree with you.
Because I mean, it is sound money. It is, so yeah, it's a digital sound money. All the other stuff is trash. So if you don't have any understanding of it, I'll tell you an interesting story. So got a buddy. He was a senior policy advisor for Senator Braun, who is now our Indiana state governor. So really like what Governor Braun is doing. I think having a business mind as an executive for the state has been very good. I think he's doing a lot of good things.
There's a few downfalls, but
Oh, absolutely.
continue.
So, but he's not God.
I've critiqued him.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But yeah, I do think he's doing a lot of good things. But when he was running for governor, he came through town a couple times. Through business associates, I had the opportunity to speak with him a couple times, and then I happened to show up at fundraising events and just like, hey, what are you doing here? But I specifically asked him about Bitcoin, and one of his campaign promises was to fight inflation. And I first specifically asked him about Bitcoin. I was like, hey, what do you understand about Bitcoin and things like that? And he gave a good political answer, which was, I don't really know this. Second time I talked to him, someone had at least been advising him of how he's like, hey, I'm getting questions about this. What do I say? He's like, I don't really know, which that's how politics works. It's like, hey, you can't know everything.
This is on the radar.
Yeah, it's like, this is on the radar. People are asking me about this, and I'm giving kind of a half bullshit answer. So that's how politics works. He's like, let me get back to you on that.
I'll have someone contact you. How about that?
Yeah.
My people will call you.
But I remember he came back through town, and I specifically asked him a question. And I think his campaign that he was running on was freedom, and he was talking about fighting inflation. And I specifically asked him, and I think he's got his undergrad and master's from Stanford. But yeah, Ivy League. He is very, very smart and very business savvy. He doesn't read off teleprompter, doesn't read off notes. I mean, a dude is very sharp. So good to have smart people in charge. So
Harvard.
Harvard.
He graduated. His undergrad was Wabash College, and
yeah.
then he went to Harvard for his MBA.
Yeah.
Wabash is a very good college as well.
Yep.
It is, absolutely.
So I asked him specifically, I said, you're running on fighting inflation. I said, how can you fight inflation when you don't have any control of how much money we print? And he just kind of laughed. Because he's like,
Was it a nervous laugh? I'm sure it was.
no, it was a I'm talking to someone who understands.
Yeah.
And he gave me a halfway decent answer, but at the same time, that's but and what once again it gets back to the point of how much success has that dude found in our current system, and why should he change? So yeah, he's made he's he was on the Pat McAfee show a couple weeks ago.
It's very risky.
Yeah, I watched that.
It's very risky to change or even to talk about change.
Yeah. So, and I asked him too, I was like, well,
Monumental change.
what about, I'm talking about, hey, what if you were to have bonds issued by the state of Indiana, which are 80% US dollar and 20% Bitcoin, so you can encourage people to invest in their state? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, it makes a lot of sense, but it's hard to get that across to you. But at the same time, there's more and more, and there's several. I think there's specific Bitcoin legislation, and there's now getting to be coalitions in Congress. I think there's about 43 right now, Democrats and Republicans who understand Bitcoin, who are voting in the same block, who are pushing that legislation. So, but yeah, so local representative, mayor.
Our mayor?
No.
Oh.
It's like I'm going to question
Oh, I got you.
whether it's our congressional rep,
I was
whether
about to call bullshit.
whether it's our mayor, whether it's whether whoever represents our district in town. That's going to be it, because if all these things come to fruition, then half the problems are solved, and then we can focus on the stuff that actually matters at that point.
But you don't expect the government to, like the local government, to adopt Bitcoin.
100%.
Why would we not?
I do.
Why would we not?
Well,
I mean, you
Just
raised
like
a
he
good
said-
question, but why would you not?
Yeah.
well, just like he said before, we need a medium to be able to cash checks. Not everybody's going to be able to send us property taxes, through Bitcoin. Like they're not
we
going to
wanna
send us
cancel
sats
property taxes
or
too,
something. Well, no, but I'm just saying, you're going to need financial institutions to take. You're going to need merchant service companies, and you're going to need this money to go somewhere. And
I don't know
You
that
bring
you-
up a good. I'm sorry.
I don't know that you do.
So if you're paying your property taxes in U.S. dollars,
Yes.
I'm going to need some medium to if you want to.
There's an exchange
transfer.
there.
There is an exchange, but if you want to exchange that to Bitcoin, great. The problem is going to be is if your government had all of their money in Bitcoin 5 months ago, they are now at a halfway loss, pretty much of dollars. So they can't necessarily put all of their money into a moving target.
Can you look up how many local governments are accepting Bitcoin for property taxes?
Yeah, Trump actually is allowing that.
I can. My thing, what I was saying though, is that you can't think that a government's going to completely put all of the tax dollars in Bitcoin.
When that
Won't work.
I was at
Not right now, anyway.
Well, not right now.
Oh
but-
yeah, heavens no, not right now. It's crazy.
But the podcast is a moving target. Like we're actually shooting for something.
What isn't a moving target?
Yeah.
But
there's also a thing while he's looking that
So
up.
the reason why I asked that though is because he said that he's only going to support candidates who support Bitcoin. But what exactly is the support of Bitcoin? Them just saying, yeah, Bitcoin exists is something that might be great.
it's gonna be
if I were his campaign advisor, what I would say to him is, I want to talk about sound money every time we have a conversation. And then we need to have a nuanced conversation about what sound money is and what's the most sound money. And then we can have the nuanced conversation about, like, I would just say, I agree with you, except for I wouldn't say Bitcoin right out of the gate. I would just say, I prefer Bitcoin, but sound money is a thing that is essential to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to vote if you understand what sound money is and we're moving in that direction, because it really is not everybody understands Bitcoin right now. So if you just say Bitcoin, you're gonna it's not a boogeyman, but
Right.
it's something that most
it's
people
had
don't
enough
understand.
negative PR to where it'd be like, I heard it's the next tulip
We
bulb.
print money.
Right.
Print money is bad.
Yes.
Print money makes our money worth less money. How can we fix that? We can focus on sound money. What does sound money mean? Okay, sound money is gold, or silver, these things.
Yeah.
And then there's these other things now that are happening that is Bitcoin.
But and even at the same time to steelman our current system, you know, when we entered into World War II and basically made the play for basically to take over for the British Empire as being the world police, it's just you know,
That pretty much happened because we weren't touched. Like, we didn't lose any of our infrastructure through that war. That's why that happened.
I don't know. There was a Mike Benz podcast about this somewhere. So he went down way a rabbit hole in terms of.
I'm just saying the
empire
reason
creation.
why we really took the top spot was because we didn't have to try to rebuild any of our infrastructure. We just continued onward.
Well, yeah.
Where everybody else was
Well, and
But we also control
piles of rubble.
Well,
we also control the money printer.
we were also freaked out that the Soviets were going to take over. The second World War II ended. I think there's a consulate in Moscow where the Russians presented the U.S. presidential seal that was bugged. It's like, hey, we were allies like 12 seconds ago. And yeah, turns out oh, that was bugged for 6 years and we didn't even know about it. Mm-hmm. So, and then came McCarthyism and all through that. But yeah, it's like when you have a massive power vacuum after World War II, after the British were absolutely decimated and all of Europe was, then yeah, who's going to step up? So is it going to be us or Russia? And we're like,
we made it to the moon, Russia, so your space program sucks. Oh, wait, we didn't really make it.
Wait a minute. So here I want to throw one more thing into you. A lot about politics to me is what signals you see and how you respond to those.
It's a good Rush album.
Well, very good.
Signals. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Anyway, so especially with where we are in the Bitcoin strategy and journey at the federal level, and knowing that the Trump family, love them or hate them, doesn't matter. There are families in all capacities that are considering Bitcoin as a strategy. I have a 50-something second ad that I think, and I'm not making any money off this company. I'm not, quote unquote, supporting or not supporting. But the fact that Trump and the government passed something that sounds like this means it's a signal that Bitcoin may be a thing. So I don't. Is the sound still up on the JBL? We good?
I mean, it's blinking. Should be.
Okay. If it doesn't start straight away, this is on my clips. I don't have it as a reel out on Facebook or whatever, so it's going to be janky. Don't even. You can put the three of us up and just listen to the clip.
Nope, I've got to put it on your monitor.
Oh, okay, because of the sound thing we got to figure out. Okay, let me see if I can get this playing.
Lower your tax bill and stack Bitcoin at the same time. Well, by mining Bitcoin with Blockware, you can. New tax guidelines from the Big Beautiful Bill allow American miners to write off 100% of the cost of their mining hardware in a single tax year. That's right, 100% write-off. So if you have $100,000 in capital gains or income, you can purchase $100,000 of miners and offset it entirely. Blockware's mining as a service enables you to start mining Bitcoin right now without lifting a finger. Blockware handles everything from securing the miners to sourcing low-cost power to configuring the pool. They do it all. You get to stack Bitcoin at a discount every single day while also saving big come tax season. Get started today by going to mining.block
I just screwed up, guys.
What'd you do?
We have been muted this entire time since that last fudge monkeys. Since that last clip that you shared.
How long ago was that?
I don't know. You shouldn't give me bourbon, maybe. I don't know.
Is it not muted now, or
It's not muted now.
Oh, well, that's good.
I took that off.
We're back.
We're back. Everybody saw our lips moving.
I don't know how far long ago that was.
Gosh dang it! I even made a mental note whenever you shared that damn clip to do that.
Well, we'll have to go back and edit that before I share all this stuff.
Just replay the intro loop song.
No, I mean,
311
but
Bitcoin Day.
the last clip was not that long ago, was it?
It wasn't, but son of a bitch. Anyway,
well.
sorry about that.
And it's not even on live?
It wasn't. Now it is. Because I muted it because the audio goes
okay.
through the room and blah, blah, blah.
Well, we apologize for the technical
Yeah, sorry
glitch.
about the technical glitch. We only have one person watching right now anyway, so it's okay.
Well, that's not really fully the point.
No,
the live is
I
just
know
kind of
it's
an
not.
add-on.
I know.
Yeah, it's someone doing their dishes right now.
Yeah. Just
It's like, I need some white noise in the background. I'll put these guys on.
and now there is no noise. What the hell?
So the glitch is, it's the live feed that's causing that glitch right now, right? I mean, that's the...
No, it's running through that speaker for the room noise.
So we need to, if that's going to cause a potential future glitch, we got to
No, I just have to be better on the buttons.
No, I mean, we got to solve that. Yeah. That's a problem that
You
should
never
be
learn anything when things go right.
solved. There you go.
Right? Back when I played tennis, I made sure to play somebody better than me so that I would get better. And hence me playing in college.
So anyway, let's wrap it up. I appreciate, if you listen to the last however many minutes of muted conversation,
Sorry.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
Thank you for watching our lips move and hearing
thank you.
nothing.
Yeah. So I love you all. I'm actually gonna go out on. Today is 3/11. I don't know if we introed it and if we talked about that. So there's a band that has been near and dear to me and my wife forever. It's called 3/11. Today is March 11th. It's 3/11 day called 3/11. So the AI song of the week was a Bitcoin song. Travis is hitting himself on the head. You should really put the camera on you whenever you do that. It's really fun. He's a percussionist, the drummer, and he's hitting himself on the head.
I can't believe I did that. I'm glad I looked up and unmuted it.
Did somebody say something?
No. Well, actually, that's the second time it's happened today, but the first time was only for about 5 seconds, and your wife was watching at the time, and she immediately chimed in.
Oh, wow.
So this is her fault.
No, he didn't see her comment.
No, I did back then.
Oh.
This was the second time. I even made a mental note and still screwed it up.
Okay.
So here we are.
That's all right.
Welcome to the Amateur Hour by Bourbon Brooks and his beautiful buxom button smasher over here. I don't know.
So anyway, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on, and I think again, to me, this conversation got a little not just better, but closer to home. Like, I feel like we are actually having conversations that are meaningful to people across the street, down the block. We can have these conversations and expand it. Yep. So,
and I don't think if you're not having conversations that people can't apply to their own lives, then what are we doing? It's kind of the meat and potatoes of it all. So yeah, if you're not educating people and people can't easily apply that to their lives, then what's the point?
Well, and if you're frustrated with things that are going on in government, local to national, and you're not pushing back and you're not having conversations, I mean, that's part of our civic duty.
Yep.
Is we have to do that. We must do that.
100%.
And Travis is still hitting himself over the head. But what most people, I'd say 95% of the people that listen to this podcast won't, they will have missed that because we'll edit that out. So please, Travis, quit hitting yourself in the head.
You say we'll edit that, but you mean Travis will edit that.
Well, I mean,
he'll go through the files and figure out how to make it.
I can. What I know about you is that'll only take a few minutes.
It won't take
be a big deal.
long.
So it's not a big deal. It's a learning experience, and we're gonna have to know this because I gotta figure it out.
I do too.
Myself.
Here we are. You gonna play your 311?
Yeah, I'm gonna play. So we're gonna say our goodbyes. I'm gonna say thank you to everyone.
Yep.
Whoever wants to listen to the entire 311 song.
Nobody.
It's only like 2 minutes. No, not right now. In the recorded version.
I'm
a clip.
I'm
Travis,
just kidding.
all these things are going to be clipped up.
I know.
You know what I mean? So we got to pretend that. We got to pretend we're making believe right now.
I want to be in Narnia right now.
You only had one bourbon, so you can't blame the bourbon on
No,
that.
it wasn't really the bourbon. I thought about it and I still didn't do it. So I don't know.
That's right, my friend.
I'm not even.
I love you.
I love you too.
I
buddy.
appreciate you. Did you say what the next date was for the?
He said the
Bitcoin meetup?
last Thursday of the month.
Yep. I'm going to be out of town for that one, so we may try to push it to the first. So let's call it April 2nd. And then since April has 5 weeks.
There may be 2. Or there won't be 2.
Yeah. So I'll be gone. And so April 2nd for the next one. And April 30th, which will be directly after Bitcoin Vegas.
And so is Club Orange what you're using for most communication? Or
Yeah, Club Orange. I'm
does
also
it cost
on
people to do that?
It does cost, but we also have BTC EVV on Facebook, which is free. We also post it on
Do
there.
that. Yeah, let's.
But yeah, so we're on both.
Yeah, if you're not traveling around and really trying to get into regular Bitcoin conversations, the app it's a paid app. So follow Josh on Facebook at that, and he'll inform you of the next one.
Yep.
Sending love to you all. Appreciate you, Travis. I appreciate you. Thank
Make
you.
sure to hit play before we're out.
Oh, I will. Yeah. I'm just appreciating you.
I appreciate you too.
Appreciating you right back.
I'm appreciating your appreciation. I appreciate your appreciation.
It's the Bitcoin 311 song to round it out. We love you guys.
Have you ever been to Collinsworth? There's not much there, but they got the best beach on the earth. That's not a lie, even though it might sound absurd, but it's not. Yo. It's 311. 311 day. On that to unite the divided. With that orange coin glow. Down in the blockchain, feel the vibration. Satoshi dropped the white paper, started the nation. No more banks controlling the flow, emancipated. Huddled through the dips, never liquidated. From the streets of Omaha to the global stage. One Satoshi at a time, we turn the page. Fiat burning slow like a candle in the wind. But Bitcoin can ever let the new age begin. Shut the code, let the protocol run. Decentralized freedom under the sun. No king, no queen, just nodes in the game. 311 day, we screaming the name. Coin, hey! Rise up tonight. 311, hey! Feel the light. Unite the divided, left and right. Orange build the world, we take in flight. Hey! Sound of the future. 311, hey! Pure culture. From the block to the chain, we all get free. Unite the divided, BTC. Lightning netted flash, transactions clean. El Salvador stacking, living the dream. Halving coming, supply getting tight.